And now on Who's Views, it's time for the latest headlines with JT and the Whotastic panel.
Hello, everybody. It's us here at Who's Views with your Sunday big show. Indeed, it is Sunday, the 23rd of March, 2025. It's Who's Views, and this is your headlines. How are you all? It's good to see you all. Thanks for coming to join us for this, your big show every Sunday night live here at 8 o'clock on Who's Views. Got a lot to cram into this one. These shows are getting bigger and bigger every week, have you noticed? We'll soon be going on for a week, the way that they're all carrying on, giving us all this information, giving us all this content. It's fantastic. Please keep it coming, RTD and your little friends out there, because have you heard? Yes, indeed, RTD has been on another rant. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Yes, he has. We're going to be looking at that during the show. We've also got... We're going to be showing how insane he is, to be quite honest. He's lost the plot completely. It's a shame he can't put plots into his Doctor Who stories. We're going to be looking at those pesky series 2 titles that were announced yesterday. We know you're all going to love them. And yes, indeed, we are going to be looking at how the BBC continues to promote lunacy in the name of diversity, inclusion, and representation. It's all coming up here on the channel. Nice to see you all. Well, let's have a look and see what these two have got to say about all this, because joining me as ever tonight is Paul and third Dr. Ian.
Hello.
How are you all?
Not too bad. How are you?
This is going to be a big show, guys. Are you ready? You got plenty of tea next to you.
We're ready.
Did we change the clocks tonight? What happens? I'm not sure. That's next week, isn't it? Yeah.
That's next week. Yeah, we'll have to do that on the show. Anyway, let's go. As usual, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everybody that's been messaging us and emailing us this week here at Who's Views. It's always great to get your emails. I do need to remind you that it does take me a while to get back to you on the emails, but I will eventually get back to you. I'm telling you. It's whosviews1@gmail.com. whosviews1@gmail.com if you want to get in touch. You can, of course, leave us a message underneath all the videos, all the shows that we do. At this point, also, I just want to make sure that please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you have already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, because believe it or not, guys, I'm still getting messages from Who viewers saying, oh, I had to subscribe 3 times over the last 2 weeks, you know.
It's weird, isn't it? Really weird.
What's going on with these algorithms?
That's the naughty algorithms, isn't it? That's what's doing it.
It really
naughty
is.
YouTube, yeah.
Those fiends at Google.
I think it's a plot.
Yeah.
There we go. Quoting
It's Putin. Everything's Putin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Allegedly. Right, so here we go. Here we go. A huge thank you this week to Andy's Vinyl, to James Watkin, to Alan Iveson, to Steve Henley, to Forbidden Man, to Colin Smith, to Aunt Sally, to you, to Mrs. Lisa Pertwee, to Megan Miller, I Love to Be, Edward Brackham, Face to East, Dirty Hamble, to Zuluk, H.G. Wells 1899, to John Henson, to David Phillip, and to Rogan Muldoon. Thank you all so much for getting in touch this week. Really, really appreciate it.
I love Dirty Hamble every time.
Yeah, that's fantastic, that.
It explains a lot.
Certainly does, yeah.
See, we might have watched it, but it didn't do us any harm. Yeah. Exactly. Not like today. Anyway, so one of the things I want to lead off with, have you seen this? Well, as you know, we all lived through the abomination that was the War Games in colour last year. It seems like longer than that, actually, but it was only last year. And over the last few days, BBC Studios, in their infinite wisdom, have released the cover to the Steelbook and to the Blu-ray and DVD. Obviously, you can see the Blu-ray and DVD version on the left, and the Steelbook, which is actually very nice.
Yeah.
If it was the original thing, I'd get that at the drop of a hat, properly restored and everything else. But it's an abomination, so I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah,
they'll have the 10 episodes on there probably as an extra, but it won't be restored at all. It'll be the original DVD version, I think.
Shocking.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because they're not going to spend money restoring it, are they? And they can just
they did that with the Daleks as well. They had the full 7 episodes on that one.
Yeah. It is just a shame, with a lovely Steelbook presentation with the gorgeous artwork like that, that the contents of this new version is absolutely dire.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, Ian. Had that been a new presentation of a decent colorized 10 episodes, I would have bought that. Yeah. And this is what we're saying to you, BBC Studios, because I know you're watching. would you listen to us? If you're going to invest the time in doing the colour stuff, stop editing it for your mythical audience who is not there. They are just not there. I guarantee you. Surely you can see that by now. They are not there. Do you not think, fellas? They're completely delusional, aren't they?
Oh, they are. They are. I mean, who's it aimed at? I'm sorry. It's really aimed at us, but give us what we want and give us full episodes, like you say. I mean, that's a no-brainer, surely. You know,
exactly.
I think it's aimed at themselves as well, because they're into that level of fan wankery where they want to turn everybody into somebody that's related to somebody else, or that this is an earlier incarnation.
Yeah,
so like they did with the Master and everything. That's not the Master. The Master was not conceived for another season and a half after that, and originally scripted by somebody else not involved in this program. Although obviously Terrence Dicks had a hand in the concept, but also portrayed originally by Roger Delgado. And it's the same as with Hartnell. You've taken Hartnell, who was the first, and you've tried to ruin that. They failed, obviously, but they tried to ruin that with Joe Martin and all the other rubbish. And they've done the same with Roger Delgado's Master, suggesting, now, Edward Brayshaw, fantastic. I loved his portrayal. He was not the Master. But they've done the same thing to Delgado, and it just shows that they have no respect for the original source material or for the history of this program. They're absolute morons, in my opinion.
We've got a lot of the Who viewers coming to us saying they're not buying that one. I'm not really surprised. It's not a hit with us as proper fans of the show at all. The audience that they're going for is not there. They're not going to spend money on this one, and and if they do, the amount of fans that are, it's going to be very limited. You know, it's not going to bring in thousands like it potentially could do. Mudcrap is saying Third Doctor Ian has some weird audio as he checked for giant spiders. Now he's just moved into his new place. He hasn't set up yet, everybody. He hasn't set up.
He's been very busy. I'll change this to my camera. Does it make any difference?
We've got Legion of James saying to as well.
Any better?
Because you're in a big room, Ian, and it's an echo. It's not insulated in any way yet, so it's fine. We know you're busy and you've only just moved in. It'll get there. And Legion of James is saying it contains 6 extra minutes of colorized material. How about the missing hour pluses? Julianne is saying to us, pity the edit isn't as good as the artwork. True. And Paul Stenterford saying, good luck selling those. Let the weirdo lefties buy them. I'll be too busy fondling grass.
Wow. Or fondling glass would be just as more exciting than watching his edits, certainly, that's for sure. Yeah.
Anything you want to do is much more entertaining than watching that again. It's terrible. Yes, hi Shelley, thanks for coming back to us. And Philip Maddox seems to be posing for a Beatles album cover, says Crimpoline de Bloom.
He looks like the 5th Beatle, definitely, yeah.
Robert Payne, I've seen more of the War Games by watching Reactors clips and what was in the in-colour edit. Yeah.
Good point.
And Mark Reeves is saying War Games, what could have been. Noodle Arms also saying the Blu-ray Steelbook does look great, but I'm not buying that.
Hopefully it's the last one they're doing, though.
Hopefully.
Yeah, no more.
They should restore another one, like Tomb of the Cybermen, and leave it untouched, but colorize it, leave it untouched, and put that on a Steelbook and see how that sells compared to the War Games.
They'll cut it down to an hour, Ian, probably.
Yeah.
It would be huge. It would be in the top 4 of the Amazon charts because we'd all buy it.
Yeah,
and they don't seem to understand that by allowing the production team to alienate millions for a minority is not good business sense.
No.
You've got to be a special kind of stupid to allow that, really.
Yeah.
Well, they are allegedly.
Yeah. Yes. And Craig would like to get the Steelbook, but without any DVDs inside.
Use
more from the landfill.
Yeah.
Mrs. Peter Pertwee saying maybe buy used later to add in our collections. I'm not even going to do that, sweetie. I don't want it anywhere near it. I'm not prepared to put that abomination in my collection.
Unfortunately, when we get season 6 and the Blu-ray collection, it'll be on there, no doubt. So
as an extra, and I don't have to look at it.
Yeah. You don't have to
watch it. I'm not just gonna buy. I didn't buy the Daleks in color. The night I saw that a couple of years ago, I instantly cancelled the pre-order. And Bill Lowry, Terrence Dicks stated that the War Chief was not the Master. The level of arrogance needed to believe you know better is breathtaking. But they do, don't they?
Yeah.
They absolutely do. But you're absolutely right there, Bill. It's good to see you all. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. for this Big Show headlines. John Roberts is saying to us, it would be interesting how many DVDs they actually sell.
It would be, yeah.
It would be. It's very, very difficult to try and get the information, though. Trust me. And Meep Meep says, Moon Pawoo, nice to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us. Great to see you. And here's Marjorie saying to us, William Hartnell is the first Doctor and Roger Delgado the first and best Master.
Yep.
I
wonder how War Games is doing in the charts compared to season 7.
It didn't do anything.
Did it not?
No, it didn't. No, season 7's still up there. War Games didn't even come close.
That'll teach them.
Exactly. Yeah. And here's Darren. Hello to Darren Dazzler Longdon. Good to see you. I would rather watch the animated Savages story that comes out tomorrow than watch the coloured War Games. Okay. I hope you enjoy it, Darren. It's not one that I'm into because, as you may know, if you've seen the shows before, I can't watch that sort of cartoon. I really can't. I can watch something like The Invasion and the 10th Planet, no problem, and the Moon Base. But this sort of cheap one that we've talked about on our previous shows, I can't watch it. But good, yeah, you got something to do tomorrow night, eh? Good for you.
I saw a couple of screen grabs sort of in black and white. It looks much better in black and white than an awful colour version I've got. Yeah, it does look better. Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what we've got here, Julianne is saying they can't leave anything untouched. They have to leave their greasy dabs on everything. It's very true. And Matrix Lord 212 is joining us saying hello. Well, hello to you. Nice to see you. Welcome to Who's Views. Legion of James. I unfortunately bought Daleks in colour before I saw it. Never again.
Once bitten.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Hello to Digby and hello to Sheila B. Good to see you both as well. And Gilliam is saying to us, see how many get discounted in HMB.
All of them.
I'd rather watch one of those 1980s pirated VHSs that are about 8th generation that are more static than anything, and you can just make out a bit of Troughton or something like that. That was more exciting than watching this rubbish.
Yeah. But we're of that age and we had to go through that, didn't we? So they're quite, those grainy, fancy video things, quite special to all of us. The kids today,
that's why I wear glasses now, I'm telling you.
That's true, yeah. That's why they're all here. Duncan the Funky Evans. Woo, get down. Woo, yeah. Welcome. Hi, all. Slightly late getting in. Been out discoing, haven't you, you Funky Evans, you? But nice to see you. Nice to see you. Legion of James is also saying, I haven't bought Savages either. Lazy animation is an injustice to the story. I'll stick to the audio CD. I've still got to revisit mine. It's on the shelf over there. Oh, and John Mason is saying, I got my Savages yesterday. It's shit.
That's a good review. Good review.
Yeah. It's probably one of the best and to the point reviews we're ever going to get on this show.
You won't see anything that accurate in DWM, will you?
No. Domgo, I've got into buying the Target books. Absolutely loving those. Why did they go out of print? Did they go out of print? They are time as well. They did go out of print because the company Target, W.H. Allen, sold it to Virgin Books. Now, eventually, Virgin Books got rid of the Target range due to poor sales. And they were doing their own New Adventures and Missing Adventures as well as the Virgin range. Okay. So the Target books, you can actually still get them, but they are not printed. However, they printed loads of them, especially in the Blue Spine edition. So you can still get them. They are still out there. I would suggest going to book fairs, comic fairs, secondhand bookshops, because they will be out there. Doctor Who magazine used to give them away because they were in a warehouse somewhere. So you used to be able to get the occasional Doctor Who magazine with a free Target book in because they're still around. It's just that the sales dropped off. So although they're not being printed now, except by BBC Books, who occasionally, they now have all the licenses for it, they will occasionally reprint them with their new logos and all this sort of stuff. But if you're looking for the original ones, you can still get them. I hope that's a bit of good news for you, Donka. I hope so. Paul Stenter was saying it's a classic example of the modern creators thinking that they know better than the original writing and production team. They're so arrogant. And Digby, thank you for your super chat. Must admit, I would love it if they left the stories intact, including the soundtracks. The Daleks was ruined, in my honest opinion. I still have nightmares about that Benny Hill element.
Well, some of the, likewise with War Games, have got similar extra music, which is just crap. It really is.
Yeah, it's not necessary at all.
No.
It's not necessary.
No. Lots of padding in
opportunities every time.
It really is. Marine Boy 1966. Hiya, mate. Is it going to get a multi-region release? Because I can see it selling in the USA. Can you? Can you with the state Doctor Who's in out of the UK as well as in the UK? Can you really? Daleks didn't sell that much.
Can't imagine it buy it, to be honest.
I don't know if it is actually. I haven't heard anything about that. We'll look into that. We'll ask some questions, and if we get an answer, then we'll let you know. But I think the Daleks did, didn't it?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure it did, because I remember people going, "What is this?" I could be wrong on that, but I'm sure it did. Hello, Alan Collins. A few clicks of the mouse and I can watch the original version of the War Games. And hello, welcome to Who Views, to Sunny Waffles. Nice to see you. I literally just woke up and I need a Doctor Who discussion. Well, good morning to you. It's nice to see you. You've come to the right channel because we've got a lot to get through tonight because we're going to be talking about all sorts of things tonight. So if you want some discussion to wake you up, yeah, this is the place for you. The other thing we've had this week, and Paul, I think it was yourself and Garbage that alerted me to this fact this week, is that there was another Doctor Who Series 2 trailer that arrived this week. It's a blink and you'll miss it thing. I don't even think it deserves the term trailer, gentlemen.
No, probably not. Probably not. But yeah.
No.
But they're really underselling this series, aren't they? Let's be honest.
I get the feeling it's quite muted so far because it's on in a few weeks' time. I do hear that this week there's more promotion coming. We have had some this week, which we'll be talking about, obviously. But we're going to start with this trailer. Did you see this thing? It's a blink and you'll miss it thing. And it's one of these things that goes like this.
Do you think they're trying to go for subliminal advertising this time instead of actual adverts? They're just trying to put the odd frame in there so people have it suggested to their subconscious that they tune in and watch shooting.
It's too late for that, Ian, I think, you know what I mean?
Mind control is the only way they're going to get ratings, isn't it?
I think it's more to try and build up an interest from the mythical audience that they're looking for, who have the attention span of a gnat. Because it's that quick. I tried to get some screen grabs for you because it's that quick. You can actually see it in the screen grabs. So we've got this thing here with the now familiar, let's look out of the police box door and do some special effects around it. On the top left there. There's that cab that we'd seen on the social media flying by. That's a London cab, everybody, flying past them in some sort of weird vortex.
It's not in space this time, though, is it? It was floating in space before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that looks like it might be another cab behind. Do you think it's some kind of cab space highway?
Don't know.
That sounds far too exciting, Ian, to be honest.
Yeah, it does really, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, this is some sort of obvious alien or futuristic city. It is not Skaro. I've got people saying, "Oh, look, there's a Dalek saucer. Can you just see it in the middle there? That's a Dalek saucer." I don't think it is. I think it's more of a homage to a 1950s flying saucer.
It could be anywhere. Let's be honest.
Right.
Skaro was never that close to the sun. It was when the sun blew up at the end of Remembrance, of course.
I was very close then.
It was.
Then we've got this other picture of the Doctor and Belinda falling through space.
I think they're underwater at that point. I think.
I have no idea. It was so quick, and I wasn't really paying attention.
Helmets off.
And then we've got this picture of the cartoon person that they're really pushing and Shooty looking a bit sort of whatever that is. I think he's just sat on something.
Which is which?
Well, yeah.
They're both two-dimensional, aren't they?
Yeah. The cartoon it's more exciting, though.
It's literally on for seconds, Who Views, if you haven't seen it. It's literally bang, 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 bang. And very, very quick. So there you go. Yeah, did you see it in the chat? Have you seen all that? Maybe not.
Going back to the first one, JT, with the standing in the TARDIS doorway, what is Shooty wearing this time? What is it? He looks like he's wearing some kind of scrubs or something. What is he wearing?
Well, it is because he's blended in with the rest of the cast, the people of that planet. So he's wearing something from that planet, from the other stills that we can tell. Because we've got a lot of stills from that at the moment as well, including a Radio Times one. Sunny Waffles is saying to us the first trailer was actually good because they showed little. I didn't see the second one. It's literally what 30 seconds, if that. It's not even 30 seconds, is it? Must be about 20.
20, yeah, if you're lucky. Yeah.
Bill is saying, "Ooh, have I missed another trailer? Oh dear." He's not. And
knowing them, it'll be repeated quite a lot, so you'll see it at some point, probably.
Stephen Braddock is saying, "Whose views sense on a Sunday in a nonsensible world?" I like to think so. Thank you very much for joining us and making it that way. And I love your picture of Captain James T. Kirk. Yeah,
very good,
fantastic. Paul Schlafter, I adore the Target books. I've got them all. The blue spines seem quite rare and expensive online. I'm glad I got them years ago when they were cheaper. Yeah, I think some people are taking the P when it comes to those Blue Spine ones. They didn't complete all those books. It was the original books they completed, but they didn't complete all the Blue Spine ones. So just be careful if you've getting them. Nice pictures though. What else we got there? Oh yes, Shelley Ingle is saying the teaser reminds me of the BioShock or horror video games. And Timkins flashing up touch crass every few seconds, and we do. Dr. Once is also with us saying, what is Gatwa wearing this time? As I say, I think it's part of that story.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. And Jane Smee, what subliminal message could they insert into the episodes? It's scary stuff. Glenn Piper, hiya Glenn. I wonder if this was like the Dead Planet where a London bus went through a portal. This time looks like a taxi. Could there be a connection?
Oh God, they're rehashing another story. Oh, good.
It's a good idea. Yeah, it's a maybe. Matrix Looks 2-on-2 is also saying I think there's going to be heavy ads once it's April. And that cab is probably part of the reality is broken type last episode. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing now, because that was the first thing, everybody, that came along. Hello to Tyler Durden Smiler when he's saying to us here, Sutex caught a cab in the vortex to follow the TARDIS again. And here's Bedweir. I've seen a couple of these brief things. It's not encouraging me to watch. I'm simply uninterested. As is Julianne with, oh, look, I don't care.
How do you think the public feels? You know what I mean? The general public, not the fans. My God.
Exactly.
Bedweir's ratings analysis will be more gripping than these episodes. We know that, don't we?
It's
just
very...
his graphs alone will do that.
Yes. Yeah. Stay with us. More news about what we're going to be doing for Series 2 coming up in the next couple of weeks, everybody. And Stephen Braddock saying thank you. Yes, William Shatner is 94. He was indeed. Happy birthday this weekend, Mr. Shatner. What a legend you are, sir. You really are. I love his no nonsense.
Looking good on it, isn't he?
He's looking very good.
Yeah. Very good, yeah.
It doesn't take any nonsense on the old social media, does he? And he's very funny with it. So what a legend William Shatner is. I'm probably the best captain of the Star Trek legacy. Oh, I've set something up now. Don't write in. It's just for fun. Happy Man 050, what are you saying to us? London Hackney Cab and Hackney showing on sign in the reality war. Yeah, so as I was getting to say, this was the first thing that's come along, everybody. And of course, I'm sure you've all known, we did post it on our social media yesterday, and we also put it onto the channel on our posts, that yes, yesterday, the BBC, Studios Bad Wolf and Disney Plus have announced the episode titles of Series 2. And I know you're all ecstatic about this, and you're also excited, so let's look into it, because here they are. Episode 1 is the Robot Revolution. Episode 2 is Lux. Episode 3 is The Well. 4 is Lucky Day. 5 is The Story and the Engine. Number 6 is the Interstellar Song Contest. Number 7 is Wish World. And finally, The Reality War is episode 8.
God, that sounds so dull. It really does.
Well, at least
not a revenge or a terror amongst them. I'm really disappointed. Yeah.
At least they haven't given that music episode an obvious title just to cash in. Oh, hang on. Yeah.
The press release for this yesterday, in case you didn't see it, everybody said, get ready for 8 all-new adventures with the Doctor and Belinda from the 12th of April, 2025. Oh, here we go. As the TARDIS gets set to land on the 12th of April, the episode titles for Season 2's epic interstellar adventures have been revealed. The highly anticipated simultaneous global launch will kickstart with the Robot Revolution at 8 a.m. exclusively on BBC iPlayer and later that day on BBC One in the UK. Those outside of the UK can watch exclusively on Disney Plus where available. Then it goes on to say, yeah, we knew about this side, the DEI hires when it comes to writing the thing. So we'll go through the titles again and I'll say who's going to be writing them for you. The Robot Revolution is written by Russell T Davies and directed by Peter Hoa. Lux is written by RTD and directed by Amanda Brocci. The Well is by RTD and Sharma Angel Woolfall and directed by Amanda Brocci. Lucky Day is by Pete McTeague and directed by Peter Hoa. I hope I'm saying that right. The Story in the Engine is written by Inua Ellams, that guy, and directed by Makala McPherson. The Interstellar Song Contest, written by well-known homophobe Juno Dawson and directed by Ben A. Williams. Wish World by RTD, directed by Alex Sanjeev Palau. And then Alex Sanjeev Palau returns to direct Russell T Davies' finale, The Reality War. So I reckon that's going to be, of course, a two-parter.
It will
New
be,
episodes, yeah, it's so predictable, isn't he?
yeah.
New episodes will debut weekly with an array of dazzling guest cast, including Emmy Award, blah, 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 blah. I can't be bothered reading all of them out. What else? Russell T Davies, showrunner, says excitement mounts.
Mounts what?
Yeah. It's all about sex with him, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It is, isn't it?
Excitement mounts as the new season gets closer, and there's nothing a Doctor Who fan loves more than facts. Yeah, something you've forgotten, tell you. So here's a whole bunch of them with titles and writers, everything you need to get ready for transmission. Well, yeah, so we're kicking off with the Robot Revolution, as we'd heard on this show, actually. A couple of the others were not right, but that one definitely was for episode 1 for the Robot Revolution. So well done, us. Right. There you go.
Well, the thing about this is what's the worst thing about it is the way they presented them. I have to say, if you've seen the little sequences they put in when the titles came up, that looked like they spent no money on it at all. In the last shot, the reality war, who did the effects for that? It wasn't Disney, surely. Awful, don't you think?
Oh, to be honest, I haven't retained it because it was so boring, and I think they'd done something like it before.
Yeah,
with all these little sort of hints about what the story was. And we've now got a load of people, fans, going around trying to decipher what those little clips are about. And I don't know why they bothered, because last year's wasn't anything really to do with it, was it? They were just nice things.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Go on, Paul.
I was going to say, just there's no budget being put into it. It's like, here's what you're getting. It's a bit lackluster, but there you go. It's like, you're trying to sell this or not? Make your mind up, for God's sake. It's just so there's no attempt to even pretend to make it look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He says that there's nothing Doctor Who fans like more than facts. Well, actually, this Doctor Who fan prefers really good, well-made, traditional Doctor Who, to be quite honest, more than facts. But we're not going to get that, are we? We're just going to get this stupid RTD trash talk again.
Yeah. Well, lots of you, of course, in the chat talking about this. Nothing, Kaya, nothing. Welcome back. I've heard the Series 3 with New Doctor 2026 Christmas special. There are big rumors going on at the moment. Nothing. It is a rumor. Stay with us here on the channel because, of course, when anything official breaks, we will be here to talk about it. I can guarantee you.
I'll believe it when we see it.
Yeah. I mean, we know there's no 2025 Christmas special. There is nothing at all about a production next year. So let's see. Well, we've got to wait about it. Duncan the Funky Evans is saying, what does RTD know about reality? Stay with us on this show because we're going to be showing very simply very soon nothing. Absolutely nothing. Stephen Braddock, you may think this, but we couldn't possibly comment with your episode 7 of Fetish World. Matrix Lord 212 is saying the music episode is a ratings draw, make or break. I'm going to respectfully make sure disagree. It's not. Last year's Eurovision Song Contest, of which I think this goes out on the same night, was not well received in Britain because of the amount of far left ideological nonsense that was going on in the entire show. And it just didn't bring people in. And there was a hell of a lot of complaints. I'm really interested to see what the backlash of that is this year, because it was just so unpopular. I don't think it is a draw, but Matrix Lord, we shall soon see, because of course we're going to be reviewing it, and we will also be looking at its ratings. Sonny Waffles, Reality War doesn't sound dreadful, but I would want another Doctor participating. Okay, fair enough, Sonny Waffles. I particularly think one's enough for myself.
Unless he means another one instead of Shooty.
No.
Oh, hang on.
Unless he means instead of Shooty.
Oh, I see. Yes. All right, Sonny. Yeah, you might get that one. Yeah, that's point. What I was going
to say was, JT, was we don't want another episode with 2 Shooties in it. Surely that's too much.
Far too much, as far as I'm concerned. But we've already had that, haven't we?
That's what I mean. But it won't stop them doing it again. You know, they had 3 Jodies in an episode at one point.
Oh, I don't want to know about that. The reality war is what the production is fighting these days, says Robert Payne. With Josh Hayes coming out, storing the engine sounds really clunky. It just sounds lazy to me.
Is that one that looks like it's set in a barber shop or something bizarre like that? Just odd. Yeah.
I don't know. We've also got here the reality war, says Domgo, where it finishes with Peter Capaldi waking up from a terrible dream. We can
only wish for that. Only wish.
Yeah. And Robot Revolution looks like Smith & Jones's Matrix Lord 212. We've actually been saying that over the last few weeks, haven't we, everybody?
Yeah.
It does look a lot like that. So very bizarre. Digital Pollution, nice to see you. Ooh, we have titles of things we don't care about. We certainly do. Lots of you here in the chat. I'm trying to keep up with you all. Bear with me while I get down to you as I scroll through all this, because a lot of you with us. Thank you very much for joining us. Terrified Monk. I'm sure the music one will be a good because it's the most expensive episode ever.
That means it's bound to be good.
Yeah, bound to be, because money just means everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We've also got Gilliam saying weekly. It's weekly, no episodes 1 and 2 together. No, they're not really living that one. That was a big mistake for them last year, I can assure you. What else have we got here as well? Paul Rose looks where Shooty goes on a quest to find his favorite soap.
And the soaps are available.
In case you're outside the UK, Lux was, I'm not sure if it's still around. I think it might be. It was a soap in the 70s and 80s. It was supposed to be one of those luxury things. It was white and it was frothy and it had a woman in the bath going, ooh, and it was therefore posh.
It won't be anything to do with that then, because you gave it the killer word. You said it was white.
And it was a woman.
Yeah.
The story in the engine will be anti-colonial and harp on about slavery, says Kester Drone. Wouldn't surprise me.
I think it will have an all black cast, I think, but judging by the picture they put on it.
Yeah. Craig Dunlop saying, how can RTD write about a reality where it doesn't know what reality is? Exactly. It makes you laugh, doesn't it? It makes you laugh. What else? Oh, we've got George joining us as well. What excuse will RTD give when it's inevitably put on hold? What do you think about that, guys?
He'll come up with something.
He'll spin something, yeah.
Yeah. Nobody will buy it.
I can't wait to see what they say if it happens. And oh, look, we've got some lovely stuff here. Hugh Janus, thank you for your super chat. Really appreciate it. I've just had a look in some dusty old storage and found 30 of my old Target books and one battered 10th anniversary magazine from when I was much younger. Well, that's lovely. That is lovely. Keep it. Make sure it's fine. Look after them because you might have a little bit of money there for you, mate. I tell you, that is fantastic. The 10th anniversary mag, we know, don't we, Paul? That does go for quite a bit.
It does. It's a lovely thing to have. You know,
Quality magazine. That was a seminal publication in the history.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I've heard of it going for over £200 if it's in decent nick. Yeah. So well done, Hugh Janus, and thank you for that. And I was saying in the live at 6, I love that picture of Terry Thomas there. Look at him. Isn't he fabulous? What a talent he was, eh?
Yeah.
What a talent. Matrix Lord 212. Apparently the finale is meant to lead into the spin-off. That wouldn't surprise me either. That old chestnut.
Oh God, no.
Anything to try and keep the corpse warm.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Look at all the millions that aren't watching. There's a spin-off coming at the end of the year for you. Please remember this episode. And Sunny Waffles again saying, Doctor Who used to make great stories on no budget, if I remember right. You certainly do, didn't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can see 4 of them on season 7 box set.
Yeah.
You can indeed. Oh, look, who's this? This is Anima Mundi 641. Hello. Did they say get ready for transmission or transmission? Ah. See what you did there, Anima Mundi? Probably both, knowing that lot, eh?
Yeah.
And Paul Rose, Wish World, where Shooty probably gets his love interest back. Oh, don't.
Oh God, yeah. Oh no, I told you he's coming back. Yeah.
Oh no, I can't be done with all that rogue nonsense again, please. Although I had a discussion the other day with a loony who thought we were all anti-woke losers, says Sean Cryer. So at least one person likes it. Well, they are there, but they are a minority. They just happen to be loud and quite aggressive, don't they?
Yeah, it's only 3 though, I think. Yeah.
And they still won't be buying war games in colour, will they? Because they don't.
No, they won't.
No. They need to get a job before they can buy that. Paul Schlefter. Once upon a time, I would be really excited for a new series trailers titles, and now I'm just whatever. I watched the new series for the Who's Views reviews. That's what I'm looking forward to. Well, thank you, Paul. We are actually getting an awful lot of people saying they are looking forward to our reviews. I'm not, to be quite honest. I'll have to sift through the bloody thing on a Saturday. But there you go. But yes, more news about when they're coming along and what we're going to be doing for the coverage of that coming very soon. So please stay with us. And Alan Collins saying, I feel very positive about the future of the series. It's just a feeling. Well, Alan, you're the one.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah.
Good for
you if you like it. That's fine. But
I wish we could, because we
Yeah,
don't.
so do
What we've
I.
seen
Yeah.
last year's nonsense was just ridiculous in my book, Alan. It
Yeah.
just took the peak completely. And I don't want it carrying on in the format that it is now, with the production team or the cast that it has now. I think it needs a complete reworking and get it back to something that's recognizable to me as Doctor Who, quite frankly. But I think I'm in two minds as to whether Doctor Who has a future or not. Currently, I don't know about you guys, but I just think, it does need that rest before it can come back. And then good luck to it. As I've said before, without the fans, it won't work.
I just get the feeling that they've done too much damage to it on a very core level. If it comes back at all, it can only be after a lengthy break, I think, if they want it to succeed. It's just amazing that the one time that it has money and the one time the BBC realise how big it is and they want to keep it, you've got the people producing absolute trash.
And they blew it. Yeah.
And when they didn't have money and the BBC hated it, they'd turn the corner and they'd really started producing some good stuff again. It's crazy. You can just imagine what it could be if all the positives lined up, but they never do. Shame.
We shall soon see. Lex, higher Lex, rubbish titles. It sounds like a very boring season of Doctor Who. It's probably going to go out of its way to insult us all again as well, because remember, it was written and produced at the same time as last year's nonsense. And more music and dancing in Doctor Who, I despair, says Steve Black. Yeah. And more honey and all that sort of rubbish, as we know from the trailer. Is it possible, asked Mark A. Wright, that the BBC are hoping to flush RTD and Bad Wolf from the franchise and then reboot or relaunch with an entirely fresh approach from a new team unshackled by the message? Copyright Critical Drinker. Anything's possible, mate.
Yeah,
anything's possible. If BBC Studios knows what's good for them, they will be doing that. But it's very difficult to know who's infected by this far left ideology.
The question is, though, what were they doing when they were making the two seasons? Why was no one seeing this in the writing or the rushes? And why were they changing it sooner if there's a problem? Really stupid, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, because show business, as we know, is infected with all this stuff. And and let's remember, last year, as we reported, RTD saying, who's going to stop him now? Basically, wasn't it? He said that in that article, remember?
True.
No one's
a lot of people at the BBC actually think what they've been doing is right because it's their message, it's their ideology, and we are the great unwashed. So if we object to it, if we don't like it, we are wrong. This is the message they want to put forward. Therefore, they are right, and anybody else that argues is irrelevant. It's the BBC's mantra that it needs to change bottom up or top down, either direction, both at the same time, meet in the middle. I don't care, but they need to change.
I totally agree with you. Nothing is here with us saying, do you think the BBC or RTD watch these videos under a different name? Now, I can answer that for you. No, I wouldn't think so at all. However, I am led to believe that occasionally a very small team do go and look at what fans are saying. Hence why sometimes people will get a copyright strike saying you've used an image from our show or you've used a clip from our show without a license or cease and desist and all this. So the answer to that is basically, but not them.
The thing is that they don't seem to pass on information to them, do they? They don't tell them how disgruntled we are, Can
you imagine
have you seen on, if anybody watches The Apprentice, and they have to do this task where they produce something and then they have to go out and get market research, and they'll get 20 people and they'll all go, it's shit. And then they'll go back to their team and they'll go, well, feedback was mixed. Some liked it, some didn't. And it's completely divorced from the reality of the experience. And that's probably what they're like. They'll see truth online, but they won't like speaking truth to power, will they? Because
it also depends on where it depends on where any feedback goes as well. Remember, we're dealing with people that could possibly maybe work for BBC Studios. So therefore, it'll only go to BBC Studios. What BBC Studios does with that? Will it get back to Bad Wolf and Russell T Davies? Possibly not. Possibly not. Will it be taken any notice of? No, because we're all far right. Every single one of us watching the show, involved in the chat, on the show, we're all far right according to these people.
Yeah.
So they're not going to listen to us. As you were saying, Ian, we're the great unwashed. We've got Jane Smead joining us. Hi, Jane. We want an ending making the whole of the last two seasons fiction. Only the last two.
I'd go further than that.
Yeah.
I'd
At
go right
least
back
the
to
last
Capaldi.
5-6 seasons, yeah.
Yeah, maybe even a couple of Capaldis, actually. I'd probably
Yeah.
go back to Capaldi number 2, series 2, to be honest. Marine Voice 1966, for a homophobe, why has that fella Dawson chosen to write an episode that heavily relies plot-wise on an event the gay community apparently has great affection for? Yes, the Eurovision Song Contest is extremely camp. And it's had a massive gay following since the very beginning, basically, although it was a little bit more underground. The problem with last year is it was too much with the TQ cult and all these pronouns spoiled brats from Europe and all non-binary this and trans that and all that. It was the TQ cult. There was a massive backlash from the British public who said this should not be allowed on television because it did go over the top. I've got friends who are massive Eurovision people. Massive fans. They go every year. And when I'm getting a text on the Saturday evening saying that they were feeling uncomfortable at the event for being gay, that's when I knew something was going on that night. But there you go. We'll have to wait and see what happens this year. But I've got a feeling the viewing figures might be down. I'll ask Bedweer very nicely if you can keep an eye on the viewing figures for the Eurovision Song Contest this year as well, please, Bedweer. And then we can have a look and see if last year did affect it. Dr. Wants is saying to us, the reality will be about fake news, I bet. Oh.
Good point. Yeah, could be.
Lots of you in the chat. Go on, Paul.
I was going to know there'll be a Trump lookalike in it, no doubt. Yeah.
There's lots of people in the chat speculating about what these stories could be about. And that's what we do as fans. And it's nice to see you all doing that, considering that none of us are really that interested. Kester Drone, I think the ratings show existing fans hoping for something good rather than a young fan base. They're going to go on about television ratings are always down, though. And I will dispute that because if you put something good on, the nation comes. Yeah. As Wallace and Gromit, Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, Gavin and Stacey proved. If Doctor Who was good, the fan base would come to it, and therefore the nation would come to it as well. It would be huge, but it's because it's crap that it's not. SG, hello, mate. Why would you do a story centered around the song contest that Britain always does so badly in? Good question.
Well, it's interstellar, isn't it? So it's universal. So Britain won't get a look in this time round, we thought. Again.
And don't forget that the BBC pays for the blooming thing. No matter where it is, it contributes a huge amount of money, which I've always in the last, I've in the last 10 years been asking why when we don't go anywhere. We had the story and the engine in the 1970s, says Robert Payne. The engine was called Ivor, and it was lovely. And here's Graham agreeing. Yeah, we had a better feature, a green train called Ivor back in the day. Oh, happy to the little Welsh dragon, the little Welsh engine. Mudcrab is saying the Eurovision plus Australia Song Contest. We got in Eurovision under a technicality cause. SBS, the TV channel, is part of some Euro TV partnership, so it's a rating scam having us in. It really is, and because if I was going to watch it, I wouldn't watch it through the BBC. I usually watch it through the Eurovision's own Tube of Who channel, where you can get it there.
It wouldn't surprise me though, this Eurovision one or Interstellar Contest, whether they have a robot Graham Norton or a robot Terry Wogan or something like that in it, no doubt. Yeah.
Well, it's thingy. It's Ryland.
I know Ryland's in it, but I wouldn't be surprised if you've got little cameos from people like that, but in alien form or robot form or something like that, because it's like his usual sort of, a bit like Trinity and Susanna or whatever, or the android kind of thing. It's his kind of thing you come up with,
see him doing that, couldn't he? Because Ryland's in there doing the comparing on stage, isn't he? Which Terry Wogan never did. He was backstage, and Graham Norton's backstage, isn't he? So it wouldn't surprise me. It'd be.
We never got to host this.
Graham Norton comes in over the top of the first episode back with Eccleston, and then accidentally, and then he's deliberately on one of the last ones ever as well.
Yeah,
I do seem to recall one year we hosted it and Terry did it many years ago. I seem to remember that because he was in a bow tie and tux, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I can't remember. JT, they don't learn though. In the recent Disney investors event, one of the execs put forward stopping DEI as it isn't working, and they voted for it to continue. Did they, Paul Rose? That's
apparently
shocking.
So, yeah, apparently so.
That is shocking. Absolutely shocking. It shows just how many ridiculous people they've got working for them. Well, don't subscribe. Put them on.
How is Snow White doing?
It's a huge flop, isn't it, Snow White?
Yeah. Keep on with the DEI.
The only people who like this show's current run, says Josh H, aren't really big fans, but just people looking to tick a box. I know people left, centre and right who dislike Chibnall and RTD too. Millions, didn't they, Josh? Millions of Doctor Who fans left it for various reasons. Actually, God, it's just ridiculous. Talking about the speculation, today, the RadioTimes.com got in on this as well, with Doctor Who unveils season 15 episode titles, and the fans already have a wild theory. The Reality War Awaits, written by Louise Griffin. This was published this morning. Wasn't worth putting into the show apart from this way. It goes on about what these are, gives the titles, which is what we've just done. And then she goes on to say, of course, fans have been theorizing about what the wider arc of the season could be, with some of the titles appearing to allude to the Unreal Wishes stories and the more explicit finale episode titled The Reality War. Could the season revolve around the Doctor being trapped in a false reality? Some have even speculated that the show could get very meta, with it being revealed that the Doctor is actually trapped in a television show. One fan wrote on X, see, this proves my point. That's how they get these alleged stories, everybody. They go through channels like ours, they go through all the social media and then make something up. One fan wrote on X, my theory right now, excuse me, is that it's going to be revealed that the Doctor is actually in a TV show, but it's like in an in-universe show that he recently has got trapped in, probably by Mrs. Flood, who's controlling the events around him. Maybe she's feeding off the chaos or something like that. Another has theorized that Mrs. Flood will be revealed to be the master of the land of fiction. And another fan allegedly said, okay, so what if the finale is linked to this episode and it is about Mrs. Flood making the Doctor realize he is inside the TV show? That's why she can break the fourth wall and talk to us directly and knows how the story will end for him.
So this is giving Russell more credit than he deserves, because these theories sound so much better than what we're going to get. Don't you think?
Again, you don't need any knowledge of the original classic series and potentially land of fiction. It's very RTD.
Yeah. It is, isn't it? It is. And he's so predictable now. He's so predictable with what he writes. We've got here from Garbage. We won with Katrina and the Waves, and next year Terry Wogan was hosting. Oh, is that when it was? Thank you so much. I knew it was something like that so long ago. Thank you to I just want to say thank you to Kirsty and Garbage for being in the chat, making sure everybody's all right. Thank you, guys.
One thing I was going to say, if that was in fact true of the storyline, that means that all that Sutek nonsense wasn't true as well, which is good. That's all fake, all fantasy, isn't it? So
it's just nonsense, though. Why would you ever write something and go to the and then write it all off the series after, which you've written at the same time? And again, it's alienating the public. There were 8 episodes last year, 9 if you include the Christmas special in the middle of them, and then the 8 that are coming now. And the public who aren't there, by the way, are supposed to remember everything that's happened last year in an 8-episode series.
Yeah.
Gareth Roberts did the Galactic Song Contest in Bang Bang a Boom, says Doctor Once, and he's had an issue with the writer of this episode in season 2. Oh, really? Do you think RTD chose that particular writer to spite Roberts? Yes, quite frankly, I do.
I think that story had a murder mystery type theme to it, as far as I remember. So I wonder if that's what's going to be in this.
Maybe.
Like some of the contestants are getting bumped off, I think. Yeah, but
Gareth writes everything better anyway.
Oh God, yeah.
It's a shame he's not still on the show, but then he couldn't write under this idiot.
It wouldn't surprise me, Dr. Once, if there is something going on along those lines, because Juno Dawson, of course, won't get on with any of us in LGB. Not a chance. Oh, is everybody there?
Yes, still here.
Have I lost everyone?
Yeah. No,
you're all there. I don't know what happened there.
Just listening.
It's all froze. All right, okay. Darren Apken, that could be a way out for the next production team to retcon everything since Capaldi. They're not going to do it. It means retconning is we pals Chibnall's stuff, doesn't it? And Terrified Monk is saying, I honestly couldn't care less about the new season. I'm currently working my way through the Tom Baker Blu-rays I got off Amazon a few months ago. Sounds good to me.
Much better.
Yeah, much better.
At least you're watching Doctor Who. And Small Swole Goat, worst case scenario, she's one of the timeless child doctors, or actually one of the Doctor's real species peers. You've lost me now. Sorry, Small Goat. I don't understand any of that.
Mrs. Flood?
Yeah. So she's one of the timeless children race. So that's what they're saying. Yeah.
If she's controlling things, then why in the Sutek episode did she get turned to dust? She would have excluded herself, surely.
Good point. Yeah.
Hi, JT. Have you got my super chat? Great show, JT and the team. Thank you, mate. And no, I didn't. Sometimes they don't show on the platform we're using here for StreamYard, or it gives me some. I think sometimes there's a time for me to get through, and because we've got so many people in, I'm not getting to them. Let me just check. I can't see it. Did anybody else see? Lex, put in your chat again, but don't put it as a super chat. Just tell me what it is again. Write star first, so I know it's the one. Okay. Write it in now for me and I'll read it out. But thank you for that super chat, Lex. Thank you. Paul Stanford is saying Gareth Roberts is far too talented to write for Modern Who. Imagine if he was producing the thing, everybody.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Yes, a talent at last.
Yeah, I mean, it would be Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that one, actually. We've got Small Swall also saying Dawson's Torchwood audios. Oh, the Dollhouse is cringe. Or was okay, but that one was probably overlooked by RTD. I don't follow those, so I'm not sure. Thank you. And Yokai63, Bang Bang a Boom was one of my favorite big bog fanish releases. Very funny with a great cast. Best to listen to this in the upcoming Eurovision themed episode. If you've got it, please do. Sonny Waffles is saying we can't erase the Timeless Child, and it's low-key fine. Watch Mordred Undead and tell me about the Timeless Child. Well, in Mordred Undead, it's confirmed that the Doctor is on his 5th life.
Yeah.
So we can erase the Timeless Child. It's been hugely unpopular. Nobody was watching the series anyway. Get rid of it. It's just not.
And in the three Doctors, in 1973, the president of the Time Lords and the Chancellor or whoever he was said, "Show me the first Doctor, the one before he changed his appearance," and they cut to Hartnell.
Yeah.
The end. You know.
Yeah. I mean, everything in the original series has been contradicted by the Chibnall era, specifically because fans like me came out. This is my theory. Fans like me came out and saying, you can't change a Time Lord's gender. And in the original series, it was established he was a male of his species. And then Chibnall says, oh, no, I'm not having that. I will make him into a girl. It's just pure fan nonsense.
And he gave Pip and Jane Baker a hard time. My God.
Exactly.
Can you imagine the arrogance? The arrogance, honestly.
But they were right.
Sorry, JT, did Lex put something else in?
I can't see it. I can't see it at all.
I've had from Garbage and Kirsty and found it. So he gave us a $1.99 super chat. So that was fantastic. Thank you. And he says, fantastic new GI glasses, JT. Very timely.
Thank you, mate. Nice to see you on that one. I hope I was saying on live at 6. Thank you. Bless you for noticing. Yes, it's my new glasses weekend here. But thank you. Josh H. JT should watch one of Chibnall's episodes. No.
Oh, especially not that one.
Yeah, not from 54. Come on, God's sake. Choose a reasonably good one if you can. If you can find one.
You're a man. Go sit in the corner and suck your thumb. I think that was the message of all from 55, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
I'm not going to be watching any of the Chibnall era. I didn't want a female Doctor in 1981. I didn't want one when it happened, and I don't want one now. So it doesn't count. And nothing in that era for me counts at all. Write it off as fan nonsense. We've got here Richard Ashton, but thanks for the suggestion. Richard Ashton, it's sad to say Doctor Who is dead on arrival, just rested for 5 years, etc. Yeah, Richard who joins us on our Blake 7 reviews, everybody, fantastic model maker, one of which you can see a little sneak peek of one on his little avatar there from the Blake 7 season box sets on Blu-ray that are appearing now. Fantastic. Season 2 is on the way. Yeah, Rich, I'm going to agree with you on that one. And Tim Kins is saying Toby Whithouse as producer and Gareth Roberts as story editor. Now that's a combination. My God, we're looking at good, powerful television there. That's a hit.
RTD, in my opinion, would do everything to scupper that because that would expose him completely.
Oh, God, yeah. Can you imagine who's going to come next? And if they do a fabulous job and the ratings go through the roof and makes it the biggest thing ever and they get all sorts of stuff and possibly even a movie out of it, he's going to hate it. He's going to hate it, isn't he?
I mean, we said this before. We thought, how could it be any worse to Chibnall's era? And this is much worse. You know what I mean? So if someone does make it better and gets a movie, etc., he'd be livid, absolutely livid.
Yeah.
He would.
Really funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Roger Jones. Hi to Roger Jones, who emailed me in the week. Roger asked if he could have another look at the photograph we showed of the monster that we showed last week, who now it appears is from Lucky Day, I think it's called. Yes, of course you can. Here it is.
Yeah, that's the Dr. Light episode. It's only 8 episodes, but the Dr. Light one is in there. Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing there's 2 Dr. Light ones.
Is there 2? God almighty. Well, that's probably a good thing then. It's a good thing. Yeah.
They'll be the highest raters again, won't they?
They will be, yeah. Just like 73 yards.
Well, there you go, mister. That's for you. Thank you for emailing in, and welcome to Whose Views. He found us 2 weeks ago, apparently. So thank you so much, and thank you for your subscription. We really appreciate it. Please make sure you're still subscribed. But there it is. There's the ghastly thing that we now know is coming from the story Lucky Day. Everybody, Lucky Day.
It does look a bit like a gargoyle, doesn't it? It wouldn't surprise me if they do like a gargoyle box / weeping angel type thing with it, no doubt.
Oh, wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah. Because they've
I mean,
done
it doesn't look like the top of a building. It looks like a wall, in which case it isn't that big.
Yeah.
It doesn't look that big.
Yeah. We'll soon find out. Maybe there's baby ones off it. Let's have a look at this as well. Sunny Waffle saying to us here, Dot and Bubble was a Doctor-like episode with too much Doctor in it.
The whole season's like that, yeah.
Scathing, but I love it. And Time Lord Victoria's, hello, mate. Pride comes before the fall.
We do hope so, yes. Yeah.
Dalek Lives Matter. Chibnall's over-emotional dramatic panto villain master is virtually unwatchable for me. I would say from what I've heard from various people, these two included, that the whole era is unwatchable.
Yeah.
And PTA, here we go. Thank you so much for your super chat. Assuming the show got a new series, who would the panel like to see as a new showrunner or producer as it should be? I quite like that idea that came up before of having Toby and Gareth in there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that one because I can't think of anybody else. But as I said last week, Toby, going for Bergerac 2, because that's been a massive hit for you. Congratulations to the team and Toby and you. Fantastic.
I just hope the BBC aren't stupid enough, though, to go, well, Russell didn't work, let's get Moffat in again. Because the progression of that would be after that, get Chibnall again. It's like, please don't do that.
No, it needs to be somebody who's not part of that, the Tavern 3.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, Russell handed to Moffat, Moffat handed to Chibnall, best friends from all those years. Yeah. It was keeping it in the clique, wasn't it? They need somebody that a whole production team that's out of it. And I would say let's interview for the talent. Do you know what I mean? Because they're out there as things like All Creatures Great and Small, as Bergerac prove. There is some good telly out there.
Yeah.
Anyway. That's what I'd say, Paul Thomas Ashworth. What about you? Anyone come to your head there, Dr. Ian?
I think with the existing talent that we're aware of, I can't imagine anybody better than Toby and Gareth, to be fair.
It's a great
although it really is. Likelihood of that is virtually zero, sadly. But I think also, who in Doctor Who circles had ever, no disrespect to the great man, but who in Doctor Who circles had ever heard of Philip Hinchcliffe before he came in as producer? And look at what he did, I mean, so it doesn't have to be somebody that we know. And like you've said before, all of us have said before, it doesn't need to be somebody who's a fan. It just needs to be somebody that isn't a prat. And unfortunately.
Or somebody who can make good television. That's the thing.
Yeah, that'd be a nice change as well.
Do you know who might be good as well? Peter Davison.
Right.
He's a writer, he's a producer, he knows television like the back of his hand. He won't go for all this claptrap. He could actually be a very good producer come showrunner, and he knows a lot of people in the industry. He's been around a long time now. He knows directors, writers, and he also have a bit of dark humor in it as well from Peter, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think a Peter Davison run series would be very interesting as well. Peter, if you're watching, get in there, son. Pick up the phone. Get the show. Come on. I want to see what you do. I wonder if Lucky Day is inspired by the animals on the wall around Cardiff Castle, says Robert Payne. Possibly, who knows? Frank Spencer is saying to us, Peaky Blinders writers, what's his name? I don't know. But another one there. Mark Jones, there is one episode which is all about Ruby and how she readapted to life after the TARDIS, and that sounds riveting. I can't stand those sort of things. Too soap opera for me. And Noodle Arms, the demon creature looks like one of the creatures from Shazam. That's where I've seen them before. Yes, you're right. It does look like those things in that movie, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, well done.
I like Shazam. It's fun. It's good.
It was fun, actually, but I can only watch it a couple of times. I can't watch it now, I think. And Lex is also saying to us, doesn't that creature look like the creature from Doctor Who and the Demons? It's not that good.
A Bocklight.
Yeah.
A Bocklight. Matrix Lord 212 is also saying RTD isn't going to leave. You might not have a choice, mate.
He might not have a choice. No, I mean they're only going to carry on rewarding expensive failure for so long, and Bad Wolf won't be able to stay in business, and we know their finances allegedly aren't the best.
Yeah.
Peter Davison would be perfect, says Garbage, and Dongo is saying, but Peter Davison has a certain daughter, though. Yeah, doesn't need to get involved.
The thing about, there's lots of rumours going about what's going to happen, and some people claim they know better than others. I mean, if he's not going to leave, what's going to happen? I mean, really, I can't see him being left to continue the way it is, surely.
This is what we're all going to be looking at over the next few weeks here on the channel between headlines and our review shows. It's very exciting, isn't it? Because if this show, and I'm predicting it's going to be a massive flop, if it's a massive flop, everybody's head's on the chopping block, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If we're wrong and it's brilliant, we're going to say so. And we won't be, ashamed to say it if it's brilliant, but I can't see it, to be quite honest.
Well, from the clips so far and then the titles, I don't want to be biased, but it's not filling me with excitement or being any good whatsoever, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, Matrix Lord just come back with this point saying there's been multiple seasons of Star Trek Discovery, even though it didn't deserve it. Different setup though for them because they were able to plow in the money without a partnership deal. Doctor Who is a partnership deal between BBC Studios, Bad Wolf, and Disney Plus, as we know. So it's a different thing. Also, if you're going to invest that sort of money, you've got to remember as well, it's got to be a hit on BBC One. BBC One need to order the show.
I was wondering if Matrix Lord is a fan of the current era of Doctor Who, because we all have obviously different opinions. So I wondered, because I think, for me, it's not Doctor Who, but if people like it, then fair enough. But does he like it? That's the thing.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
and Star Trek Discovery, in fairness, Star Trek Discovery was born out of the height of the BLM and Me Too and everything else. So women good, men bad, black women even better, that kind of thing.
Terrible.
It was so woke with them. I mean, they did rival Ncuti Gatwa for the amount of times they could cry per episode. And it was very much the thing that they wanted at the time. So failure or not, they would have demanded more series of it because it was what they were pandering to. And as soon as things started to change, they shit canned it, didn't
they? Yeah. It's all interesting stuff. Stay with us here on Who's Views as we look at all this as we move forward over the next few weeks. The Macronon, hello, mate. Whoever wrote Mummy on the Orient Express would be great as showrunner. That was an almost perfect story. I've got to go back and revisit that because a lot of you say it was a good one, and I can't remember.
Was that Jamie Matheson that wrote that? Was it Jamie Matheson?
Was he not a director?
That's why she was a writer.
Let us know in the chat. Mark A. Wright is saying RCD has already left. Allegedly, it looks like he has, because he's now gone on to another project for the Channel 4 drama that we reported on a few weeks ago, which is called Tic Tac Toe or something like that, isn't it? Something ridiculous. So that's coming up. We'll be watching that. And Frank Spencer is saying it's Stephen Knight is the Peaky Blinders writer. Right, okay.
Oh, okay.
Right, okay. Peaky Blinders was huge. Got a film and everything, didn't it?
Yeah.
But good for them. So anyway, that's where we're going on that particular one. That's the new series titles for you, everybody. Yes, and so let's see what happens with all of that. Garbage is saying it was Jamie Matheson. Well done, Paul, who wrote Mummy on the Orient Express. And Farsight is saying Mummy was great. It should have been an Siren as the baddie, though. Oh, yeah, because of the Egyptian link. Okay, I get what you're saying there. I get what you're saying. Okay, let's move on then, because this week, as I was saying in Live at 6 today, thank you so much to everybody that gave us some great feedback, guys, for the show we did on Wednesday, which was, of course, the highs and lows of 20 years of Reboot Who, but is it time to call it a day? That was our show where we had a big discussion with the Whotastic panel. It was great, and with you all in the chat. I really enjoyed Wednesday's show. The over demanding it was just so amazing. But the outstanding response was, yes, it's time to call it a day. Thank you to everybody who said the comments. I talked to you about you all in Live at 6. But this is, of course, the time where we are marking the 20th anniversary of Reboot Who. with our series that we've been doing. And as we mentioned on Wednesday, Radio Times this week finally caught up to us with a series of covers. Look at them all. Yes, you can go out and you can currently buy 6 covers. Yes, this tried and tested and very tired. Oh, let's put one incarnation on this and get some more money. £30 Garbage worked out that this will cost you if you buy each of them. Now, the contents are all the same, don't forget. It's just a different cover. Yeah. So for those limited fans of New Who that wanted to get all 6, it was going to cost around £30 for them all. Good grief. It is. It's nonsense. Yeah. But there was a feature inside the Radio Times on this week, and I thought it might be interesting to go through it and see what you all think about it. So let's get into it right now from an actual physical copy. Yes, I went out and got my coffee from the Tesco cafe as usual and took photographs because I'm not buying it. But here it is from a physical copy of the Radio Times for you all. This time, 20 years ago, screenwriter RTD was under pressure. His passion project revival of Doctor Who was about to air, starring Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper. It was 16 years on from the BBC's original cancellation of the show, which to most of the world was a distant memory of wobbly sets and Daleks foiled by stairs. In 2005, TV was on a different planet. Could a series about a time-travelling alien in a police box really work in the era of The Sopranos and The Wire? It all felt terribly important, Davies says now. I'd loved Doctor Who all my life, and I think its return has now proved that it's invulnerable. But it didn't feel like that then. It felt very much last chance at the saloon. There was a lot at stake, but RTD found himself oddly confident. In that build-up to transmission, I felt like we had a secret weapon, and that was Billie Piper. Everyone knew Eccleston was a great actor, but knowing how good Billie was a terrific feeling, because people came to criticize, people came to mock, and people came to scorn. In the end, RTD's confidence was borne out. The Doctor Who revival became an overnight success, kickstarting a new era for the show that has spanned another 2 decades. Eccleston was succeeded by David Tennant, who recalls, when I signed on, the first series of the new version hadn't even transmitted. I sort of signed up to be in a second series that nobody could really be certain would ever arrive. I could have appeared in a regeneration scene at the end of series 1, and that could have been it. I would have been not even the George Lazenby of Doctor Who. If I can make a slightly obscure Casino Royale reference, I'd have been the David Niven of Doctor Who. Following Eccleston and Tennant's time, new Doctors Smith and Capaldi came in, with Davies' successor as series boss Stephen Moffat, while third showrunner Chris Chibnall cast Jodie Whittaker as the first female Doctor in 2017. New mythology, monsters and fan favourite episodes were born. Today, RTD is back in charge, with Gatwa about to embark on his second series of adventures. He was just 12 years old when the Doctor was given a new lease of life in 2005. Probably being a nuisance somewhere in Borough High School corridors, he jokes. Now, I've just done my first Comic-Con, which was last year. Get this, everybody. It was last year that he's talking. I've just done my first Comic-Con, and as much as it was intense, it was a really nice way to finally get close and personal with the fans. A big, beautiful family of all kinds of people. It's really special to have a character like the Doctor on our screens. He tries to leave everyone happier than when he first meets them, and that's a beautiful trait. He inspires and represents a sense of curiosity, courage, and compassion in all of us. Doctor Who is a 20th century show, successfully reinvented for the 21st, but perhaps more pertinently, it's also a 2005 show that survived the changes in the TV landscape since then, the rise of streaming and the supposed death of traditional broadcasting. Doctor Who has become one of the biggest streaming successes of the BBC iPlayer, with 36 million hours of New Who, specifically between 2005 and 2022, watched on the platform just last year. The BBC tells RT that there were over 70 million hours of Doctor Who watched in 2024, including its various spin-offs and iterations. So how does it keep going? It's a constant battle, RTD admits. It's different every single week, not just on a different planet, but often a different genre. The casts keep changing, and that keeps people excited. And there's nothing quite like that on TV. There's nothing quite like that anthology show imagination of Doctor Who, where it takes these wild leaps from one episode to another. Never, 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 never would you have thought we'd be here 20 years later, he adds. No program would ever think that. It's astonishing. We were literally just hoping for a second year. Amazingly, since its return, not only did Doctor Who get a second series, it has managed to air at least one episode every single year since. Then it says, so let's step into the TARDIS and take a trip back through how 20 years of New Who, remember how we got here, which we're not going to do because it's absolutely ridiculous. But what do you think of that then, and what RTD is saying there, guys?
Well, firstly, he can't count I mean, 70 million hours of Doctor Who, that's nonsense. It's like the ratings you can't count. But what annoyed me about this article, they start off with referring to Classic Who about wobbly sets and Daleks can't get upstairs. That's so annoying.
Yeah.
I agree with that, and I think you're right, Paul, about the times and everything else. So many hours and everything else. I mean, if you're talking Classic Who that's being watched there, that's the best part of 3 episodes, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you can't quantify in hours something that is transmitted over 25-minute chunks or 45-minute chunks. It doesn't really make sense. But, you know, it's the BBC, isn't it? I don't think their ratings and internal scores actually stand up to scrutiny. I don't think.
I mean, we've been asking how we wonder how many views the iPlayer is getting. They sort of answer the question there, but they make it all about the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, really, are people really going back that much to watch Eccleston and Tennant and Smith and Capaldi? Really?
No.
I'm quite shocked if they are. You know, and I would like to know if they're saying it's all this other stuff with all the spin-offs and stuff. I would like to see a real proper breakdown, actually, please, Radio Times. Can you go and get that for us? That would be really good. I'd like to see that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
I think the truth.
What was interesting? Sorry, it was in the Radio Times. I've not seen it, but they did like 20 best episodes or must-see episodes, and I'm sure that contradicts our own opinion of what was good and bad Doctor Who, which would be interesting.
They're delusional. They're absolutely delusional.
It also doesn't tie in with the fact that their new series box sets don't sell as well on Blu-ray and DVD as the classic stuff, as proper Doctor Who. So I just don't trust the word they say after all the ratings, and after we've proved here with Bedouia's rating and shows that, you know, they're saying, oh, there's nothing to see here, everything's fine and dandy. I don't believe them. I don't believe it. Hi, Jim Hillis. Yeah, more spins than Wonder Woman. RTD just couldn't give Chris Eccleston the credit that he so richly deserved. He landed the show. I think also they have to remember as well. I agree with you, Jim. Don't get me wrong, I agree with you. But so did the fans. We deserve a lot of the credit for supporting it as well, because if it hadn't been for us after 15 years off the air, it wouldn't have been the success it was, because the fans were waiting for us. Us fans that we told it's no longer for us. We were there waiting for it. We supported it. We did a lot of promotion for them. We brought the Not-Wees with us. They forget that. They really do.
Also, JT, I think the thing is that Russell forgets that the quality of the writing in that first season as well wasn't him. It was other people, you know? And if he'd used that template for coming back now and had more decent writers, not just him doing it, he might have had a better reaction to it, you know?
Yeah.
And he had oversight as well.
Haven't you?
Yeah.
He had oversight as well, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Legion of James, never mind the desperation cash grab article. Most importantly, JT, which cover copy did you pick up to read? You're funny. I think I grabbed a Capaldi one. I didn't really care. I just went whoosh. I thought, I need coffee.
But if you picked up Jodie, you put it back, wouldn't you? Got another one instead, yeah.
His coffee would have gone off.
He spilt the coffee on it probably if it was Jodie, yeah. So.
I think in the Tesco I went to, I think I only saw the Capaldi, the Eccleston, and Tennant. I didn't see a Whittaker one or anything like that. But I do remember just going, right, I need coffee, picking up the first one, and it happened to be Capaldi.
They'd all sold out, JT, obviously. They were gone like that.
Of course, because they're the most...
That's what happened, yeah.
So Sydney Rough Diamonds is laughing at the fan favourite episodes in that article. Absolutely. Dalek Lives Matter is saying Chibnall can't be taken seriously. I don't think any of them can, quite frankly. And Linny, hello to Linny. Hi, guys. RTD just said on the Tube of Who that... Oh, right. We're going to be coming to that in a minute, Linny. Stay with us. We are going to be looking at that story very, very soon. So stay with us. We're building up to it. What else we got? Jane Smith saying, so this is the problem. RTD genuinely thinks he and the show are bulletproof and it will be just as successful in this iteration despite all the criticism.
Yeah. It's interesting about, well, I know we're going to get to it later about the facts of things. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. And John Booth, hello, John Booth. I loved a couple of Jamie Matheson's episodes he wrote for Capaldi, like Flatline and Mummy. Oh, I remember the Flatline one with the
Flatline's good as well. That's really good. Yeah.
Yes,
That's quite
Flatline
scary
was
one,
good.
isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Wasn't that one?
And
the
Oxygen was quite good as well. I like that one too. Yeah.
He should have done more for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
He's probably gone on to bigger and better things, to be quite honest.
Probably because he wrote good stories. Again, the showrunners don't like people that write good stories.
People
They
with
tend
talent.
to get rid of them.
Yeah, because it shows them in a
them
bad
up.
light.
Yeah.
So even if they do, make them the actual showrunner when you leave. What's this from Time Lord Victorious? My friend recently went back to watch the 9th and 10th Doctor episodes. Nostalgia gets stronger when TV currently is crap. I wouldn't be surprised if the BBC iPlayer gets good figures for New Who. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that, Time Lord Victorious.
Well, as much as I love classic Who, and there's nothing better than the original series, but that's made me appreciate classic Who even more because the current era is so crap. Because it just makes even the poorest of stories that you think are poor, like Twin Dilemma, are better than this kind of nonsense we've got.
Even Timelash.
Oh no.
But that is an interesting point, because I've said on the show before that on the rare occasions I will watch television, I won't. I'm watching stuff from 30 years ago on the repeat channels because it's much more entertaining, and because I missed so much in the 90s because I was having a life. I'm catching up on stuff in the 90s and thinking this is actually not bad, or this is bad. So it's interesting. So I think that's a good point, Time Lord Victorious. As SG is saying to us, though, classic Who sells well on DVD and Blu-ray, but repeats do badly. What repeats?
Yeah.
It doesn't get a repeat. And I think part of the fact it doesn't get repeats on normal television is because it's damn good.
It's not a repeat since 2002, is it? Or 2001 when they repeated Silurians, and then they did some Genesis and things like that, and then that was it, wasn't it?
Well, they've done really well, to be fair, considering the time slots they were in and what they were against. They didn't do too badly.
But that's 20 years ago, 25 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah. Paul Schlefter is saying to us, the difference is in 2005 we were all there for it and wanted it to be a success. Now 20 years later we are all over it. I love Doctor Who, and seeing how far it's fallen is really quite sad.
Yeah,
it's true, isn't it? Absolutely true. And Duncan, the Funky Evans, to the public, Eccleston made them take it seriously. Billy was seen as a Bonnie Langford style stunt casting at the time. I've said it before in our shows this month. I actually was very keen about the Billy casting. I was quite interested to see what she would do. So, but there was that element as well, guys.
Yeah, definitely. But she proved us all wrong.
On the first night.
Yeah.
So there's an awful lot going on there, everybody, about that particular one. They did carry on, though, in the Radio Times with this. The Stephen Moffat era. Regular Who scribe Stephen Moffat took over from RTD in 2010, staying in the showrunner role for 7 years with Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi. Those extraordinary days, he says. Doctor Who plus Sherlock are a blur to me now, he says. I was working too hard and fast to properly remember any of it. I have a dim impression of panic, guilt, and trying to cut down on sleeping so I could get more done, and it didn't work. But you know what? When I told people I was a screenwriter and they asked if they had seen anything I'd done, boy, did I have one hell of an answer. Those days, those amazing days. I wonder what they were like. Moffat's second Doctor fellow, Scott Capaldi, also has fond memories. It's reawakened the child in all of us, he tells RT. The revival of Doctor Who was and is one of the most welcome sights on television. No other epic yarn is like Doctor Who, adds Moffat. It's brand new and ancient at the same time. That's the Doctor for you. You've known him all your life, and he's the new kid on the block. How do you live forever? Simples. You don't age. And then, predictably, it goes on to the Chris Chibnall years. In 2018, Broadchurch creator Chris Chibnall took over the show, staying for 4 years alongside 13th Doctor Jodie Whittaker. Running Doctor Who, you really are running a million miles an hour, Chibnall says now. Each episode is a new world, new characters, new monsters. It's exhilarating, exhausting, amazing, and it's the best job. It was one of the biggest gifts I've ever been given playing the Doctor, agrees Whittaker. There's no right or wrong way to play that character. And the most exciting thing was that, as a woman, I got to play that part. I hope the show continues to celebrate change. Ugh. Regeneration is literally built into the show on and off screen, adds Chibnall. Some people get frustrated that it doesn't stand still, but that's why it's so enduring. It can constantly surprise. And if there was any young girl, I can't stand this bit, everybody. And if there was any young girl aged 5 upwards who saw Jodie and could suddenly see themselves in the Doctor, that's all I ever wanted to do. What a pile of nonsense that is.
There's no right or wrong way to play it.
Oh, yes, there is.
And she managed it, and so did Gatwa. I mean, it's Tom Baker, John Pertwee. They never needed to be there just for boys. You know, there was girl fans as well. You know, you look at those fan photos from back in the day where Pertwee or Baker are surrounded by kids, the boys and girls. It's both. You know, there's none of this. But she comes in, and it's all about gender. She can shove it right up a clacker. I honestly don't care.
That's the thing. She should be there for everybody. That's the thing, whether she's male or female. I'm arguing with GT. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing to do with the gender at all, really. That's the thing, you know?
She was divisive all the way along from her first conversation.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Yeah. The Chibnalls was 4 long years, says Domgo. Matt the Silent Wee Music King. Jodie was the wrong woman to play the Doctor. I'm still going to stick to my guns. They should never have cast a woman. Jim Hillis is saying Moffat did next Alex Ferguson and picked a duffer as his successor, certain to enhance his reputation. I was saying in Live at 6, the parallels between Doctor Who and football are incredible, especially now. Jane Smee, we are meant to identify with the companion, not the Doctor. He is an alien. Quite well said, Jane. Absolutely well said. Peter Venkman fan site, as a young girl, I loved Tom and I still do.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Exactly. And
wonderful
Sean
man.
Crane agreeing with Ian there. Yeah.
But Doctor Who appealed to everybody. Gender didn't come into it and shouldn't come into it.
Yeah. Lots of in the chat. I'm glad you were interested in all that, everybody. What they were saying to celebrate 20 years of Doctor Who, which earlier this year or last year, Russell T Davies said they weren't going to do anything because he thought it would confuse the general public. You can show that the general public aren't buying the Radio Times. $4.99 a week it is. $4.99 a week.
$4.99? Good God.
And that's why it comes to £30 for all those covers.
Yeah.
To me, it just seems like cashing in.
Yeah.
It really does. And are they that desperate? Probably. I was speaking to somebody this week, actually, everybody, from the industry, from the publication industry. And we were talking about the magazine that they were working for. And she was telling me that, yes, the circulation is down, the sales are down, and everything now is online. They've got an online edition that they launched about 2 or 3 years ago. They are winding down the hardcore, the actual magazine copy. They're winding that down. She said it would be gone by this Christmas after 60 years of this particular magazine being out there. And I was like, that's such a shame. She said, yeah, we're all gutted, but it's just not selling. It's not moving. It's now very difficult to keep the price at a level. She said the magazine that she works on is $5.99 a month now. The industry's mad. I mean, technology's killed so much as well, isn't it? And I said, well, how many people are actually reading your magazine? And she said, well, not as many as used to read the online, because not all of us want the online either. I think you've got to keep the consecutive things going, because you've got 2 different audiences. Yeah. We know the danger of getting a download.
Yeah.
Because they can take it off you anytime. Lots of comments here in the chats. Thank you very much, everybody. It's great to see you all. I'm glad you enjoyed that particular bit. Oh, Time Lord Victorious. The Doctor is a role model for everyone. It's the character and his choice to not use a gun, to save lives, to help others. That is inspirational, no matter the gender. Well, certainly we had no issues with it for 26 superior years. Did we?
Not at all.
No issues at all.
No. And nobody thought about it at all. Michael Clark, hello there, nice to see you. Does anyone think that Mackenzie Crook would make a good Doctor? After all, he's already played Wurzel Gummidge. Ooh.
Not sure. No.
No, I'm not sure. To be honest.
I'm not sure. Oh, look, all three of us are agreeing on that one. We all went quiet there.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Crook.
I liked him in Detectorists. I thought he was very good in Detectorists.
He's an unusual looking actor, which gives him some, I suppose, a bit of novelty value. He's got a different look about him, hasn't he?
I just don't think he's got the magic.
Yeah, possibly not.
And I think that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to get an actor that can act, but also bring in, I hate to say the word, but the eccentricity that the Doctor has to have.
Because and some gravitas as well, yeah. So.
Yeah.
How did his Wurzel Gummidge do?
Very well.
Did very well.
Right. It was well received.
They haven't made any more, have they?
Yes, I think they've done. Michael, did they do about 3? Do you know? They did an equivalent of a series, really, over 3 Christmases, and then Famous 5 took over.
It's like a Doctor Who, isn't it? And Pertwee straddled both. You know, it's an engaging character and everything, but it's brought to life by the skill of the actor playing it. And Pertwee was a shoo-in. So if Crook made a success of it, then perhaps he does have an eccentricity in him that probably could come to Doctor Who. Like you say, Paul, he has got the looks. Yeah. He's certainly got the Pertwee nose, hasn't he? And and that interesting face that would lean itself well to artwork.
Yeah. I did see. I haven't seen a full episode of the new version, but I wasn't taken with it. But that's because I'm sort of set my ways, and Pertwee always comes to the forefront of Wurzel Gummidge for me. But I haven't really given enough time to give it a fair judgment, really, to be honest.
Yeah. We've got nothing here in the chat. They're asking everybody, who would you choose for a new Doctor companion? If you want to play the game on that one, please do in the chat. I know a few of you are now with some great ideas there. And stay tuned with us, because we will be coming back to that question in time. Stay tuned. And we've also got Paul Rose saying to us here, I never wanted a female Doctor, but always suspected they'd do it eventually. It could have still worked as a one-off with the correct actress, portrayal, or scripts, but they were all wrong too. As I've said before, if they'd done it in a science fiction way, not just that this is how it is now, and all the previous years, I would have wanted to see a reason why he changed into a woman when he shouldn't have done. I would have liked that worked in. If there'd been a story arc about that, I would have been a bit happier, but I would have wanted a different actor as well. And Stephen Braddock is saying to us, JT and everyone, I thought you should know that on BBC 4 on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m, Tom Baker, This Is Your Life. Well, we won't be watching that because we have a show here at 8 o'clock. We've got our review of Rose here on 8 o'clock.
I'll be taping that. That'll be fine. That's okay.
You can tape it.
Taping.
I'll be taping it. It'll be fine. Yeah.
I'll get the audio with a little microphone up against the speaker.
Yeah.
David B is saying to us, do you think Jodie with decent scripts could have made a good Romana? No. I'm sorry. I don't have any time for her acting at all. I mean, I saw her in a play, as I've famously said many times now, before she got Doctor Who, and the scenery had more ability than she did. It's a running gag I'm going to continue to do because I was so unimpressed. And I actually said to a friend of mine at the time, I said to her, who told her she could act? She was that bad. So I've got no time for it. And there's only so many times you can play a grieving mother convincingly on television. That's all she ever seems to do. So no, I'm sorry, David B. No, I'd like to see actors. Thank you. But thank you very much. It's great to see you all. We're going to move on to the next one now. And this is the one a lot of you will have seen this week and want to talk about. It involves this fella, doesn't it? Ugh. Okay. Right, yes. So this story first broke last week. This, of course, is RTD at the Gadio Awards last Friday. There he is there at said awards, looking very old, actually, I think.
So can I ask, what does Gadio stand for? Is it an acronym?
It's not an acronym. It just means radio for gay people. It's a channel that's been around for, what, 15 years, maybe 20?
You have to be gay to listen to. How does that work? I mean,
no, you don't. But it starts up, no surprise, I believe, in Manchester. Right. And it was supposed to be a community radio station for the LGB community. Of course, it has now been moved on to LGBTQIAA, BBC, ITV, Channel 4, and whatever bloody letter they want to add to it in the day. And it's gone completely over to the TQ cult side of stuff, of course. Now, it did actually originally have a lot of volunteers presenting various shows throughout the 7 days of the week, from presenting to producing to putting the shows together to selecting the playlists. all the usual stuff you would expect in a radio station. So it was a community radio station. Since then, the early days, it's gone national and it's gone quite big, and it gets a lot of sponsorships and stuff as everybody's jumped on, all these businesses and stuff that jumped onto the bandwagon of equality, inclusion, DEI stuff. They are so lucky in a sense these days, because we never got any of that back in the 90s, especially when we were trying to get businesses involved to support us at prides and pay for things. You know, they didn't want to know. You got laughed out the blooming building or ignored, or your letters or your emails or your phone calls never got answered. So they're damn lucky today, in a sense. But it's just a shame it's been commandeered by this cult. This story broke last week in The Guardian, everybody. RTD, Gay Society in greatest danger I've ever seen after Trump win. Doctor Who writer says he feels a wave of anger heading towards us and hostility in the UK as well as the US. The story continues. RTD has said gay society is in the greatest danger I've ever seen since the election of Donald Trump as the US president in November. Speaking to The Guardian at the Gaydio Pride Awards in Manchester on Friday last week, the Doctor Who screenwriter said the rise in hostility was not limited to the US, but, quote, is here in the UK now. As a gay man, oh, you remember Debbie Russell, I feel like a wave of anger and violence and resentment is heading towards us on a vast scale. I've literally seen a difference in the way I'm spoken to as a gay man since that November election, and that's a few months of weaponizing hate speech, and the hate speech creeps into the real world. I'm not being alarmist, he added. Yes, you are. I'm 61 years old. I know gay society very, very well. Oh, listen to him. It's all about him. And I think we're in the greatest danger I've ever seen. Since his inauguration, Trump has ended policies giving LGBTQ plus Americans protection from discrimination. He has also restricted access to, I can tell this is The Guardian, everybody.
Yeah.
He has also restricted access to gender-affirming healthcare, said the US would only recognize two sexes, and barred transgender people from enlisting in the military. Ray Vanguard, RTD, also used his keynote speech at the awards ceremony, which rewards the efforts made to improve the lives of, I'm going to say, the TQ plus people in the UK, to criticize Trump and the president's ally, Elon Musk. I think times are darkening beyond all measure and beyond anything I've seen in my lifetime, he told the audience, which included the singers Louise, Redknapp and Katie B, and Traitors contestants Leanne Quigley and Mina Shannon, because of course it does. RTD said he turned 18 and left home in 81, adding, and that is exactly the year that rumours and whispers of a strange new virus came along, which came to haunt our community and to test us in so many ways. Oh, the joyous thing about this is we fought back, he said, blah, 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 blah. When he wrote the TV series Queer as Folk in the late 1990s, he said it was a part of a movement with writers fomenting ideas and putting gay and lesbian characters on screen. Note that it was gay and lesbian characters, everybody. I don't actually remember a lesbian in Queer as Folk, to be quite honest. Had he been asked to imagine what life for TQ plus people would be like in 2025, I want to say it's going to be all rainbows, he said, skipping down the street hand in hand. Equality, equality, equality. But the peril the gay community now faces, he said, was even greater than it was in the 1980s. And then we've got all this stuff here. Okay. And then we've got this here. And it's at this particular point, I'm reading this and I thought, why don't we actually hear from him himself? It was about, you know, I knew that this videos of this man was going to come along. And so instead of reading it, let's watch it. Here you go. Good luck.
America. It's like something out of Lord of the Rings. It's like an evil rising in the West. And it is evil. We've had bad prime ministers and we've had bad presidents before. What we've never had is a billionaire, tech baron, unelected, openly hating his trans daughter, and therefore weaponizing all of his power against us. We have never had this in the history of the world. It is terrifying because he and the people like him are in control of the facts. They are in control of information. They are in control of what people think. And that is what we're now facing. But do you know what we'll do? Do you know what we always do in times of peril and crisis? We gather. And we meet in cellars at night and we talk and we plot and we sing and we paint and we manifest ideas. We go on marches. We go on sponsored. We do signatures. We attack. We talk to politicians. We organize ourselves. In the end, what we do is we educate. We take everything we know and we go out there and we educate. And that is what we'll have to do again. I'm telling you, that is the danger that's on its way. And we will thrive. What we will do is we will soar. We will blossom. We will fly above these problems, because with this education, what that means is, like I said at the very beginning, how much I love you. I love you all. I love you. Because this is what we are. We're not men who have sex with men. We're men who love men. We're not women who have sex with women. We're women who love women. We're not people who want to change their gender. We're people who love their true gender. We work out of love. We love each other. We are love. And with that love, by loving who we are, we will never, ever lose. Thank you.
So yes, again, an audience of clapping seals around in there. And, I just want to stress again that he does not speak for all same-sex attracted men and women across the world. LGBT has been divided now. It's been added to with the Q&I. There is a hashtag around, which is hashtag LGB without the TQ. What he's saying there, guys, oh, love, 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 love. He wouldn't say that about, and he hasn't said that about those words. I mean, look how the way he attacked the LGB Alliance a couple of years ago by saying, of course there's T, of course there's a T with this. And he attacked the same-sex charity, He's so blinded to the homophobia he is supporting.
He's creating his own problems here. There's talking about facts and stuff in the article and what we're saying there. It's like, well, you're skewing the facts, aren't you? You're making the facts be misinterpreted, I think. He's creating his own problems here. Speaking as a straight man, I've got lots of gay friends. I don't have any problem with what happened in America with Trump being elected. I don't treat my gay friends any differently. I don't think, oh no, I hate them now. I don't at all. I treat them exactly the same way I did before he got in. So what's the problem? You're creating them yourself, Russell, aren't you? That's the thing.
I think what he says, it's bad that Trump and Musk are controlling the facts. Basically, what he's saying is he would prefer to control the facts himself, which prior is what he felt he did. He felt he was controlling the narrative, and he doesn't like the fact that control has been taken out of his hands by people possibly, and I'm not necessarily meaning Trump or Musk, but other people that are perhaps a little bit saner. He strikes me as a very aggressive, nasty individual that is painting other people as aggressive. And he's following that old idea of mass control, in that if you say it enough times and you talk about it enough times, people will eventually believe you. But it doesn't alter the fact that he's talking absolute crap. I think he's a very, very dangerous individual. I really do. I think he's horrible, nasty man, personally.
Well, I'm going to agree with you there, because he's now shown his true colours here. He's obsessed with this, isn't he? He's absolutely obsessed. Frank Spencer is also going to agree with you there as well. And Legion of James is saying, I'm absolutely raging. I'm genuinely fit to blow. Yeah, I mean, I've got so used to the fact that he does this. This is another award ceremony where he's surrounded by the cult that he is one of the leaders of. Let's face it. He's powerful in the industry, so he's enforcing this into his industry. He's full of clapping seals. And none of them, or if they are acknowledging this, they're turning the blind eye to their homophobia, because that's what the TQ cult is. It's misogynistic and it's homophobia. And all they go on about is, we hate, we love you, we love you, we love you. As John Mason is saying to us here, we love you unless you're a woman in sport. Yeah, we love you unless you stand against us. We love you unless you're the right sort of gay. Duncan the Funky Evans, RTD, said in an interview on season 25 box that basically the AIDS was a conspiracy to stop gay people having fun. At least that's how I took it. Really? Well, that means he's absolutely stupid then, doesn't he? Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of you are sort of making parallels here. But when you look at him at that podium, I got that as well. I got this whole thing of, yes, you preach to your cult. You preach them. You tell them what we're going to do. But I don't remember you, RTD, being anywhere around on all the rallies and all the petitions and all the volunteer work I did in the 90s. I don't remember seeing you at all. I remember seeing certain people like, I've forgotten their names now. I'm not even going to say his word, but it was the guy that played bloody, what's his name? The big famous actor. From Lord of the Rings. Ian McKellen. I remember seeing him. but I don't remember seeing RTD.
If he's so convinced that everything is going to be fantastic, why 2 sentences before is he terrified? Because purely he thinks, or clearly he thinks he's going to win. But he says earlier in that text you were reading out, JT, about how when AIDS came around and everything, and all of us here remember that time for different reasons from different perspectives, but we all remember it. And he said they gathered and demanded the medicine, I think were the words. But I mean, the thing is, and I'll hold my hands up, I may be wrong, I may be remembering it wrong, but for quite a lot of years, when that horrible disease surfaced, there wasn't any medicine. So what was he demanding? Because it was quite a few years until they got retrovirals, wasn't it? So what medicine was he gathering and demanding? Because I don't think there was any.
There wasn't any medicines as being able to save your life, but there were certain things around early trials, basically.
Yeah, that helped prolong your life a little bit.
But it was a few years before they came through, wasn't it? And he gave the impression that it was, because for a long time people didn't know what the hell it was. And he's saying they were gathering and demanding the medicine straight away. And it's like, no, things weren't being withheld from you.
He's also got his history completely wrong, because the people that were actually supporting gay men were lesbians. And that's the big thing that he seems to forget. It was gay women. I mean, there are pictures that you can actually get, and you can find them on Google of women in Britain, the lesbians in Britain, with adverts and T-shirts and bags and stuff saying we've got to support our boys. He's forgotten all about that. And they weren't TWs, they were women. Jim Hillis is also saying educate or indoctrinate. Now, that's the other thing. He said that they have to educate. Well, you've got to get through the LGB first, because the education that you lot are putting out there is not real. You lot, the TQ cult, has rewritten the Stonewall story from 1969 in America to insert and shoehorn in what they're calling a TW, which is actually a gay man in drag, who's getting an awful lot of that. I have this conversation an awful lot now. He's getting an awful lot of credit for throwing the first brick. He wasn't even there. He wasn't even anywhere near the incident at the time. He was several blocks down. There's a gentleman that is luckily still around with us called Fred Sargent, who was there. And if any of them bothered to go and get his first-hand account or read any of his books, but no, because he has to be rewritten. He has to be cancelled. In fact, the poor fellow was actually attacked by a TQ cult member at a Pride event a couple of years ago and pushed to the floor. He's 78 years old, for crying out loud. We've got David B. You can get Fred Sargent on Facebook and on the X as well if you want to know more. When I saw RTD's rant, all I could think of was Hilda Winters, says David B. For those of you who don't understand, check out Tom Baker's debut story, Robot, specifically episode 3. Well done, David. I know what you're saying there. But there he was yet again with his utter nonsense, as John Mason is saying here. Look, mental health check in order, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and to think, says Stephen Braddock, this person is in charge of our show. Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And we've also got this one as well from Kester Drone. He speaks for no one except a suspicious cult.
Yeah. It's interesting, the facts thing that is relating to Doctor Who episodes, like that line in Robots of Death, isn't it, about changing the facts to fit the situation. I mean, that's basically what he's doing. He's changing things to suit himself. It's like, talk about facts or fake news. Come on, get your facts right for a start.
Well, yeah.
But he stirs things up and then points to the reaction and says, "Look, I told you it was happening." He creates it. It's all
It's a huge generalization, isn't it? That people are that the public are turning against gay people and being horrible to them all of a sudden because of Trump. I mean, that's nonsense. It really is.
I think a lot of what he's saying is false flag.
Yeah,
he's doing it himself and saying it's somebody else. It's false flag.
It's propaganda. It's propaganda. I mean, the reason that I have seen an increase in homophobia in Britain, not by millions of, yards and yards or whatever he would like to measure it has, but I have seen it. And the reason it's coming from is it's coming from the TQ cult. And And you know, they're telling people things. They're rewriting LGB history. They've claimed the flag. They're pushing that alleged progressive flag into everything. I was saying before on Live at 6, even Ibrox Rangers Football Club Stadium is flying the progressive flag. Why? They don't understand where it is. We've got councils all over Britain flying that bloody flag. It's offensive to LGBT people because it doesn't involve us. In fact, the circle involved in some of it represents heterosexuality. What the hell has that got to do with LGBT rights, you utter nonsense, you clowns? So what he's saying there is not true. And apart from the fact that it's coming from them, it's coming from them. And isn't it, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, he's turning a blind eye when it suits him. Look at Juno Dawson writing for the next series of Doctor Who. Look at the fact that he won't look around him to see how many of the people there, the trans activists, are getting at women, are getting at LGBs who won't bend the knee. There was an event in Aberdeen last weekend, I think it was, where the trans activists, as usual, started to drown out the women that just wanted to speak about women's rights. Luckily, there were some gay guys there as well that were actually getting back at them. That's where we are now. That's where we are. Matthew Pounder is saying to us, my trans friends hate RTD. I am not surprised. I'm not surprised because they think they're representing them all. They're not. They really aren't. Here's Tony Farrell's TARDIS with RTD as a complete hypocrite. He speaks of love, but remember how he responded to some using the most hateful language possible.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, there are factions who are activists or fanatics, really, and then you have trans people who are normal, nice, ordinary people. It's the faction that's the problem, you know.
As I've been saying on headlines for a while now, about a year, I feel he is complete lunatic, and I do think he's dangerous because he's obsessive with this subject, and he's pushing it onto people. He's pushing it into Doctor Who. He's trying to push it onto the public. It's been rejected. You know, he's pushed it in the industry. Nobody can stop him now. You know, all this sort of stuff. It's very, very worrying that when they're talking about we're going to educate, they're not. That it's pure propaganda that he's in line with and he's happy to support. It's pure propaganda. And he wouldn't sit down with people like us, would he, Legion of James, who's saying to us, RTD clearly did not face a fraction of what most of us original LGB faced over the years. And he clearly didn't fight like we did, or else he would not be doing what he's doing. I'm so angry. I'm not angry at him anymore. I'm actually quite sad for him. I look at him and I think, I am sad for you because you weren't there the first time around, and now you're trying to get into it the second time, like your friends, the Tenants, and other people as well that shoehorning themselves in with this new activism, and you're all turning the blind eye to the fact that you are on the wrong page and you are homophobic because you're so intent on your non-binary trans issues. It drives me mad, Legion of James, with them, but don't be angry at them, pity them. Pity them, you know. Lots of you in the chat saying it. Look at this MSG. He's spewing propaganda, isn't he? Just love, isn't he? Just
yeah.
Fella in a cellar, says Lee Smith. Thank you for that. Paul Rose, JT. There has been no anti-gay message from Trump. He danced with the village people on stage at his inauguration. They are just stopping giving the lunatics oxygen. Bravo. Well, I know an awful lot of LGBT people, or specifically gay men, to be honest, in America that voted for Trump because they weren't going to stand with the TQ cult, which the other side wanted, the Democrats wanted. So they voted for, and the vote from same-sex attracted people for Trump in America was massive. You won't find RTD or the TQ cult admitting that because it doesn't go with the narrative.
Yeah.
You know, so what Trump has done there is actually protected, in my view, a lot of same-sex attracted issues.
I mean, it's interesting that he said in that video clip very publicly, that's now distributed in many different places, including here, that Elon Musk was openly hating his trans child, which I'm not aware, but then again, I haven't gone looking, but I'm not aware that he's come out with any hateful comments about said child. So you could argue that potentially RTD has libeled himself there and left himself wide open.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah, it could be interesting.
Right, if he has, yeah.
Yes,
especially with somebody with a bottomless pockets for legal action. That would be really quite funny.
I wonder. I mean, I knew that Elon Musk and his son weren't getting along now because of this issue, and I can understand that because, you know, it's like how T Davies was saying in that rant. You know, we're celebrating true gender. Give over. The true gender is the one you're born with. You utter loon. It's a mental. It's called dysphoria. You know, and if any youngster, and there's lots of let's bear in mind as well that a lot of these activists I've mentioned before are in the schools and in the education system in America and in Britain, and they are activists, and they're not telling the parents when a child is having some sort of form of questioning. They'll push them down the T route quicker than anything else to tick a box and make them feel themselves better. No, look at me, aren't I accepting and tolerant and brilliant? No, you're not. That comes under something else in my book. You need to get them to a psychologist or a psychiatric assistance. You know, it just makes me. I can't believe that this has all been shoehorned into Doctor Who because of this raving lunatic. Lex is saying he's become a real true life Doctor Who villain. He needs to keep his mouth shut. He's full of hate. And yeah, it's exactly what they call us, isn't it? All of us, we're right wing, we're the haters. And there he is up there accepting that award from the clapping seals of his cult. Time Lord Victorious, what a load of self-obsessed narcissism. Homosexuals have never been better off. He is the issue. He is the one advocating against gay rights without supporting trans the gay away.
But I missed. What did he win the award for? What was it for?
Ah, right. Yeah, I can tell you that now because here it is here. Obviously, he's with a drag queen. I don't know who this drag queen is, but there you go. Looks a bit like Cruella. Actually, Cruella Taville. That's the guy. Yeah. He got it for being the best icon from Gay Radio, the best gay, the best LGBTQI, whatever it is, icon.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, so you got that bit
face. That face he pulls, it's just a face made for smacking, isn't it? It's honestly, just drives you balmy.
They are so obsessed with the nonsense, as SG is saying, preaching to the converted.
Yeah,
exactly. And Sean,
it's going to be a brave person that stands up there and says, "No, you're wrong," whilst he's full flight, isn't it? It's not going to happen.
I would tell it to his face, "You are wrong with this," honestly, because he is. Sean Cry, how dare he ignore all the heartache something like that must cause? Exactly. Using it to make a point is a cheap, tacky shot. He doesn't realize that, though. He genuinely thinks he's on a mission. Lee Smith, I'm not going to mention that name on the show. Not at all. He's dodgy as hell. As SG is also saying, because you know where I am, don't you, SG? Yeah, dodgy as hell, that man is. I met him years ago, not understanding the bigger picture. I wish I'd known then what I know now about that man. What else? These extreme left wing people, though, always hate, don't they? They are what they preach, basically. You know, it's quite bizarre. You know, at this thing I was talking about in Aberdeen, where these trans activists turned up at this women event, where the women are speaking in public about how women's rights need to be protected more now than they have done in the last 20 years, which is true. Because you've got men invading all their spaces and rewriting everything for them. They've got this sign saying, love, not hate. And yet there's a TA activist at the front, a TW, with I hate TERFs on his chest.
They're so stupid, though. They don't see it.
No, they don't. They don't. We've got here from Mark Milford. Nice to see Mark. The TQ cult is as extreme as the climate change crazies. You will obey. You will be like us. That's exactly what it's all about. Austin Woods is looking at the word re-educate. Brainwash is the word I would use. It's very, 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 very dodgy. All of that is dodgy. Dougie Stewart is with us. Was that the model tank coming in at the end? Glenn Piper's asking a good question. RTD must have always been like this, but why didn't we see any of this from 2005 to 2010? What changed? What's happened to this man? It's very sad. I reckon it's just because he's so angry because society will not do what he wants them to do.
He's having a midlife crisis. That's the thing. Yeah.
But he had oversight, didn't he? When he brought Doctor Who back, there was people above him who reined him in. And now that environment is entirely different. There is no reining in. He's just a loose cannon. And we're seeing him for what he really is.
The true colours. And I also think, Glenn, from my point of view, is there's an awful lot of jumping on a bandwagon now, because I think it's an awful lot of actually good-natured people deep down who weren't there to support us in the 80s and the 90s and the turn of the century with LGBT same-sex rights here in the UK. So because they missed out on the first one, they've gone and thought, oh, well, it's happening again. We're going to jump on this and we're going to support it now, not realizing, because they can't be bothered to research. Nobody researches properly anymore. Nobody talks. They just accuse. And they've jumped on this thing, not realizing they've got it wrong. And it's misogynistic and homophobic. A man is not a woman and a woman is not a man. It's as simple as that. Hello to Kieran Colley. Nice to see you. Welcome to Who's Views. Hello, JT, Paul, third Doctor. Good evening. Hope you're well. We are. Thank you very much.
Not bad, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And Limekins is with us. Where have you been? I haven't seen you for ages. LGB and the TQI infighting is far more damaging than anything outside. See Dawson, the left will eat itself. And I hope it hurries up and I hope it gets digestion problems with it.
Indigestion, definitely,
Yeah. Honestly, I just... Glenn is also saying to us, I've not seen for the past 20 years anybody be rude to gay or lesbians. It's absolute nonsense. The majority of people are kind and accepting. This is nonsense. He does not live in the real world. He doesn't live in the real world. And a lot of it they're making up. They really are.
Like, let's kind of get over it, because we already are over it. You know what I mean? It's that's the problem, you know?
Exactly. I'm just fed up with them all. Really am. So that was him there. Thank you for all your comments, everybody. Keep them coming. But the greatest response, or one of the greatest responses I saw to this rant that we've just shown you here, and by God, it was a long rant as he accepted this award, to all the clapping seals around him, well, it was from James Dreyfus. Oh, yeah, Jimmy Dreyfus sent out a lovely X message here. Yes, of course, we know James Dreyfus, because he was fired from Bog Fanish, wasn't he? Big story there. But look what he wrote. That's odd, Russell. Things seem to be fine for LGBT people, relatively speaking, around 10 to 15 years ago. What do you think changed? And did you play a part in said change? Answers on a postcard, please, too.
Good for him. Good for him.
Absolutely.
Genius, absolute genius. He's on the ball as Mr. Dreyfus. I love his tweets, and I'm still a big fan, and I'm on the same page as him with a lot of the politics. Obviously, certainly on this one, because he is another LGB without the TQ. But that was RTD. I tell you, somebody who was not going to be agreeing with anything we talk about now. It's approved superfan himself. Yes, have you met Reese Connolly on your travels around conventions? Exactly. Now, Reese Connolly is making an absolute... Reese Connolly is making a little bit of a name for himself as an approved fan. He is part of the TQ cult. What makes me think that? You ask?
All right. Okay.
So yes, this is all creative, and he has been to certain. I've seen one of his shows on the Tube of Who. Yeah, it was camp. It was camp. Put it that way. And I don't know what else to say about it. Basically,
which one is he? Is it the one with the long hair, or the other one? Which one's which?
There he is on the right there at the Doctor Who prom at the Albert Hall. This is the most recent Doctor Who prom in 2024. That's his partner. Both of them are non-binary. However, they're both male and they're both in a same-sex relationship. So you are gay, you utter nonsense. You know, after all the bloody hard work we did, own it. I can't stand these kids.
Yeah, how can you be? Yeah, exactly. How can you be non-binary if you're in a gay relationship? That's just nonsense.
Exactly. Yeah. All this BS that they give her. We fought bloody hard for your rights. How dare you? It just insults me. Well, obviously, Reese Connolly and I didn't get on when we encountered each other on Twitter a couple of years ago, and he's blocked me. Of course, we had
what a surprise!
Yeah, we had a difference of opinion, and we couldn't agree. We couldn't even agree to disagree.
They have so much resilience, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, I thought
if in doubt, block someone. That's the key.
I thought he was an utter attention-seeking fool, and he didn't. So therefore, I got blocked. But BBC Studios on their social media this week have been promoting him. That was just the first one. Look at this: the joy and power of enjoying Doctor Who together by Reese Connolly. It carried on. Timestamp the 26th of March 2005. I'm 11 years old, he says. I'm glued to the tally. The Ninth Doctor had just burst into Rose Tyler's life, grabbing her hand, telling her to run. My journey as a Doctor Who fan has liftoff. 2 decades on, I'm still flying high, and much like the titular Time Lord himself, I am not alone. Just like the many companions who've travelled in the TARDIS over the years, when fandom is good, it's such a gift. It can provide inspiration, discussion, collaboration, comfort and joy. Somewhere you can make great friends and proudly be your full, brilliant self. We all know what that means. It's lovely to enjoy things by yourself, of course, but there really is a special magic when fans come together with positivity and passion, connecting and celebrating as one wide, wonderful community. He carries on. Just like the many companions who travelled in the TARDIS over the years, we've all got that one crucial thing in common. We love adventuring with the Doctor. When the theme strikes up, everyone joins in singing. Ooey oo. It's a genuinely euphoric moment. Goosebumps.
I have never done that ever in my puff.
I think I did it when I was a kid. The world is especially divided right now. Here's the big stuff. Here we go. The world is especially divided right now. There's anger and uncertainty. It's easy to feel scared and overwhelmed. Take time to hold on to the stuff that makes you feel good and safe, which ties us all together instead of pushing us apart. And as always, remember, you are not alone. Yes, so if you want to get guidance, kids, from these two here, it's no wonder the country's in a bloody mess. It's no wonder you've got dysphoria problems. It's no wonder you've got mental ill health problems. These are not the people you should be listening to. They are part of a cult. They can't even tell you what a woman is, for crying out loud. What an annoying...
Are they from Wales?
I don't care.
Just wondering where they're from.
Don't care where they're from. All I know is that they are an example of the new breed of approved Doctor Who fans. And don't they love themselves? They are so up themselves. I'm so surprised they can't get each other properly. It's absolutely incredible. Honestly, these people really wind me up.
They just look smug.
Yeah, look at us. Look at us.
Yeah.
Did they do that kind of Doctor Improv show? Because I've seen a few of those in various fringes.
Something like that, yeah. Because they've been to conventions.
God, yeah.
You know, they've been to certain conventions. I wouldn't have them because, you know, they're part of the TQ cult. It was mentioned when I did a convention a couple of years ago, and that's when I came across this guy. And I thought, absolutely no way are we paying him. Not at all. It was just embarrassing to see. It was cringeworthy. But certain people are, of course, hiring him. We've got RTD there. Hugh Jane is saying RTD sounds like TQ extremist. Well, he is.
No doubt they'll be on the podcast, probably, that awful podcast.
They are approved fans, and they're part of that approved look that has crystal meth in it, and the blonde one, and that idiot from Australia, and all that sort of stuff, you know, because they're part of the cult.
That's crazy.
Tim Kins is saying here, Musk hasn't hated his child, as people say. He was lied to that his child was going to... Was he really? There's a big story there, right then. Okay, right. Oh, well, here it is with Mrs. Lisa Pertwee also saying Elon's kid was gender affirmed without Elon's permission. And when he found out, he realized the left was not for him. Elon's words, not mine. That's sad. That's terrible. This is what's happening in our country with various people not telling parents what's happening with their children. That's awful. That is terrible. Fancy not telling the parent what's going on. That's awful. Yeah, so there we go with that approved fan. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Approved by idiots.
Yeah.
That approval has no credibility. So it's just Pratt's endorsing Pratt's. Personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm worried that these people, they come along with this message, oh, the world, it's no wonder these kids are anxious, as they say, because you've got these people around them telling them to be anxious. They say, oh, the world's awful right now. Oh, you're all going to get this. Yeah, and because they're pushing all this ideology onto them and the world isn't accepting it, which it isn't, try doing it in the Middle East or Africa, you idiots. You know, no wonder the kids are getting anxious. Oh, nobody's going to believe me. Nobody's going to listen to me. Of course they're getting anxious. You people on the far left are creating this.
And you're not allowed to give another opinion of it, another side to the argument, are you? To do your version of it, to give your side of it, to make sure there's a balance in terms of the conversation, are you?
Yeah. Yes. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And they don't understand it. They don't understand that, they're creating all this mess and that there has to be another voice to keep them in check. And RTD and his cult just won't have it. It frightens me. People like these people frighten me. And I tell you what else frightens me as well, everybody, it's the BBC's obsession with it. In the last couple of months, they have reported the deaths of 3 drag queens and none of the actual real news that is going on. They are obsessed with all this. We've shown on the show as well that how much of the license fee payers' money, £80,000 to be exact, is being pushed into DEI projects into the BBC. Now that is getting more and more traction as the British public suddenly realise this. It's getting talked about on the alternative channels and on alternative media, the unapproved. This one is definitely unapproved. They don't like this one, so I'm going to talk about it anyway. This is from The Spectator. BBC issues support email to LGBT staff over Trump, written by Steerpike. Steerpike is The Spectator's gossip columnist, serving up the latest tittle-tattle from Westminster and beyond. What a job. I'd love that, I tell you. On the 21st of March, this was printed. Let's see what he's got to say. The BBC's legions of staff seem to be struggling to cope with the news. The corporation has issued an emotional support notice for colleagues affected by events across the water after the election of US President Donald Trump, with the Beeb gushing that its, quote, commitment to diversity, inclusion and belonging remains unwavering, end of quote. How sweet. The statement issued by the BBC Pride Board sympathised with staff members, particularly those in the LGBTQ plus community, who may have concerns about goings-on stateside. The note went on, we know the corporation firmly believes in creating an environment where everyone feels safe, valued and respected, no matter where they are based. If you need someone to talk to or require additional support, please don't hesitate to reach out. Our Pride Network is here to listen and act, and you can also access confidential assistance through the Peer Support Network or the Employee Assistance Programme. We are also planning opportunities to connect more closely as a community, including forums for dialogue where you can share your thoughts or let us know how we can better support you. It comes after one of Trump's first moves in power was to declare war on diversity, equality and inclusion programs. The flurry of executive orders signed by President Trump included DEI crackdowns, prompting larger private companies like Goldman Sachs to follow suit. More than that, the US leader has ended policies that serve to protect LGBT rights, including non-binary recognition to transgender identification on passports. The BBC also appears to have taken a leaf out of the Guardian's book after the newspaper offered its employees Trump therapy following the Republicans' victory last November. Talk about an overreaction, eh? Just to point out the bit there, non-binary has nothing to do with LGB rights at all, so no wonder it was removed. This is the letter from the BBC Pride Board to the colleagues.
I can't go over that. They've actually got a board. That's incredible. Yeah,
I have heard of this board. I actually thought, I was beginning to think it was a myth, but no, they are actually there. I have seen floats for them, Paul, at London Pride, which is
right.
Oh, London Pride! Don't get me started on London Pride. That's a poisonous organisation. They have told LGB people, and I've got the receipts on their social media. If you are LGB and you hold LGB same-sex viewpoints like me, you are not welcome at Pride. I've got the receipts. Anyway, look at this letter from BBC Pride to the BBC colleagues. Dear colleagues, we understand that events and discourse in the US over the last month may be causing concerns, particularly for those in the LGBTQ plus community. We are reassured that the BBC's commitment to diversity, inclusion and belonging remains unwavering. We know the corporation firmly believes in creating an environment where everyone feels safe, valued and respected no matter where they are based. If you need someone to talk to or require additional support, please don't hesitate to reach out. Our Pride Network is here to listen and act, and you can also access confidential assistance through the Peer Support Network or the Employee Assistance Programme. We are also planning opportunities to connect more closely as a community, including forums for dialogue where you can share your thoughts or let us know how we can better support you. Please know that our values do not change and our commitment to you remains steadfast. Together, we will continue to foster an inclusive environment where everyone can thrive. I asked a friend of mine that works in the BBC who is gay, same-sex attracted, whether he and his chums who are same-sex attracted used the BBC Pride. Not one of them wants to go anywhere near it.
That doesn't surprise me.
What do the spineless melts think that the President of the United States is going to do to British citizens? What are they afraid of? What are they scared of? What's stopping them working to the point where the BBC needs to put out an internal circular. Are they perhaps employing the wrong people? Well, we know the answer to that one, don't we?
Yeah.
I think they're afraid of the, which we're hoping for, is the change coming over to this country, and then people will finally see what they've seen in America, and they've had enough of this nonsense, and that's what they're worried about. I think they're worried about the change coming here. I think.
Lots of you talking about Mr. Connolly there. Keep going, and also you give us your views on this one as well. I'm just worried that it's now so encased. I mean, we have started to see various companies recently deleting in Britain, deleting or announcing that they're getting rid of their DEI policies. That's it. I need to see more.
Yeah.
I need to see more. Marks and Spencer's recently announced that they're reviewing the policies. So let's have a look. But I need to see a lot more.
But it's starting. That's the positive thing, as far as we're concerned. That it's starting. It's making a bit of progress, and I think people are kind of sick of all this nonsense. That's the problem. Yeah.
Well, it's getting there, and that's why they're going to have to move. I mean, this is what Russell's always banging on about, as he was in that video we showed there. That he thinks that's the rise of homophobia. It's not. It's actually the rise of common sense, speaking out against the lies from the TQ cult.
But you can't control people if they're focused on common sense, which is why he hates common sense. He wants to control, he wants to influence. Yeah. I think.
Duncan is saying to us here, how do you become an approved fan? I've been a fan since 1987 and I've never been given a certificate. And
the same, I've got a doctorate in Doctor Who as well, and I should be recognised as well.
Yeah. And Farsight saying, so as approved fans, do they get freebies? Yes, they do, because they can get to go to the season premieres, or they can get to go in this and that. And yes, they can. Or they get approved bits and pieces for their podcast or something like that, or get invited on the podcast. Yes, they do. They are approved. It's as simple as that. And
to be fair, do you want to go to the premieres? No, I don't think.
No,
I don't think they're really approved. I think they're more actually just certified, aren't they? Really, it's more appropriate. Certified.
Well, yeah. When I say approved, it's part of the cult, and therefore they are acknowledged. They are saying the right things. Nothing is wrong. They could rewrite Christopher Eccleston's season, and they would go, "Oh my God, it's brilliant what you've done." That's what I mean. You know what happened with the Chibnall thing? He rewrote the entire Doctor's history, and they bent the knee and said, "Oh my God, it's the best thing ever." Oh my God, Joe Martin. Oh my God, whatever it was.
It's called brown nosing, I think.
Yes, yes, that's it. That's it. And that's what I mean by approved. The ones that they will recognise because they hold the same view, whereas the likes of all of us. And all of you, that's what I'm talking about here. All of us here, we're not in that camp at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for staying with us on the show and looking at all this. Rick Storm is saying, if only the BBC had real pride in their programming, those days are gone.
Yes.
Honestly, those days are gone, isn't it? And isn't BBC pride a contradiction in terms? Very much so. And Jeremy Musical, exactly, Paul makes the point perfectly. I'm a straight white guy, so I have no chance of ever playing the Doctor. True.
Me neither. Yeah.
SG is saying some pride events are only open to rich gays. Poor gays don't get a look in. It's despicable and a scam. Well, actually, on some of them, as I said there with London Pride, and I've got the receipts, they won't let you in. They won't let you join if you don't bend the knee to that bloody flag. And the same in Manchester. I've got the receipts. Manchester, where RTD is. Please, you can just know what's going on Canal Street. Just Jordan, it's nice to see you. Hiya. And
Hello.
SG is saying it's a big club ain't in it. That's exactly it. That's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. But there's other clubs, isn't there? And this is one of them here at Who's Views, and it's all great to see you. So Sydney Rough Diamonds saying toxic positivity. And Enspiel, thanks for being with us tonight. How to upset a right winger? Tell them a lie. How to upset a left winger extremist? Tell the truth. Isn't it strange how, everything's turned upside down? I love that comment from Johnny Rotten around about 2021, 2020, and he said something like, he never thought he'd see the day where he was agreeing with right-wing views because the left wing has become more right-wing than the right wing. It's true, though, isn't it? It was a great comment.
It is.
Brilliant.
It is.
Yeah, so lots of you there. Well certifiable for sure. They all are. And I think we just proved that in these last bits and pieces. Gosh, thank you all for joining us tonight, everybody. We've had, well, I've got some exclusive photos, so I think they're exclusive. I can't remember what he said, coming up for you soon. Gosh, yeah, it's us here. Oh, on Whose Views? It's Headlines. It's your Sunday Night Big Show. I am hearing from all of you now about what's coming up on the show next here on Whose Views. Well, this Wednesday, we are continuing marking the 20th anniversary of Reboot Who. And on the night itself, of course, we're looking at this. On Wednesday, the 26th of March, it is our review of Rose, the episode that kicked off the 20 years with Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper. So come and join us live on the channel, 8 o'clock this week on Wednesday night, 20 years to the day. As we look back, I'm really can't wait to go back and have a look at it and see what everybody thinks 20 years on. Has it aged as well as proper Who has done? We shall soon see, everybody, here on the channel. We've got some great pictures now. I want to say a big hello to Phil. Phil Roy, how are you? We've had an email from Phil Roy this week here at Whose Views, and he's been, he caught up with one of our shows last week where I thought he's gone quiet. He must be busy with filming the film. Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion is on the way, and yes, he has been busy with the last few shots and getting everything ready for the film, which is nearly with us, everybody. And he sent us some pictures. Have a look at these.
Oh,
yes, I thought that would interest a few of you. Look at that. No idea what that is, but it looks a bit spooky, doesn't it, darling? It really does. So setting
is that a CD tower?
Could be a CD.
It's a sideways coast rack.
It is.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's another one that you may have seen as well.
Oh, I've seen that. It's lovely. That's really nice. Yeah.
Don't the Daleks look great, everybody?
They do.
I love the Dalek flooring as well. It's lovely.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
And we've got some behind the scenes shots. Lava lamps, everybody. Lava lamps. Loving that.
Nice. Set looks great. I love the Dalek really set. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've also got this one.
Oh, nice.
I just love the way the Dalek is in that entrance there, you know?
That eye stalk looks illuminated as well, doesn't it? Which is a really good addition to the traditional iris style.
Yeah.
They should have always been illuminated.
Yeah, I wish they'd kept that. They didn't change it in Evil of the Daleks. That was a shame, you know.
Yeah.
And then we have this one.
Excellent. Lovely.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
So thanks to Phil. Thank you very much for sharing these with us. There's the pictures there for you, everybody.
Do we have a release date for it yet, or when it might be finished? Any indication? Is it going to be the summer, or do we know yet? Or
he hasn't told me the exact date. However, we had a quick conversation by email this week as well. Stay with us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you still subscribe to the channel, because he's going to come on the show and he's going to tell us more about it nearest to the time. So we'll sort that out with Philip, and he can come and talk about it to us about his film Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. He's going to tell us a little bit more about it, tease it, and that should be quite good. I'm interested in hearing about that one, everybody.
We're going to a group trip to the pictures, then that'd be nice.
That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? That would be lovely. We've got lovely comments here as well. Jeremy Musical is always saying, yep, that Blue Eye Stalk edition works really well. And Spiel. So looking forward to seeing this. Matthew Pounder is saying, ooh, I'm getting Remembrance vibes. Really? Yes. Virtual Bass talking about what we were talking about before. TDS means Truth Derangement Syndrome.
Oh, right.
That was a lot of them around, I'm afraid. Yeah, there are. Just Jordan is saying these pictures are fabulous. Make sure your dad sees them. Are there cinema tickets available, says Lex Kane? I will ask, and I think that's what we'll get your man on to tell us all about. Yeah. We've also got this from Digital Pollution. When Who came back in 2005, I was excited. As the years went on, I cared less and less and less. By the time of Matt Smith, I was over it. Yeah, I know what you're saying there, mate. Stephen Braddock is saying Silver and Black Daleks are my favourite. And Paul Stenford, these pics look amazing. At last, something Who related I can get excited about, and I can't wait to see it. Yeah, there's a lot of us in that, isn't it? R.
Oh,
Jonathan, the CG Rack of Doom. And Stephen Braddock is saying he just looks like the Doctor.
He does. You look at me. Good casting. Yeah.
He does, doesn't it? That looks like my Planet Earth licensed Dalek, says Paul Rose. Oh, and there's a subtitle by Robert Payne here of Rack of the Daleks. That would work on the telly. Russell Swift, hello, nice to see you. Davros life support chair system is offensive. It is. It's problematic.
Yeah.
That's why it's not there. It's problematic.
Although I love that BBC celebrated on their channel 50 years of Davros. Even so, yeah. Hypocrites.
I see we've got Phil in the chat.
We have. I've just seen him. Philip is here with us as well, saying hopefully released late 2025.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Can't wait.
But we'll sort something out with you, Phil, about you coming on the show and telling us all about it. We'll get that sorted. John is saying to us the Daleks are stunning.
Yeah.
What else we got there? I want those Daleks to take no prisoners, says the Forbidden Man. And Dalek Eye is pointing out that Philip Roy is also narrating a documentary about the history of the TARDIS too. Yeah, I saw that on his Facebook page. We'll have to ask him about that when he comes on.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him about that. Here it is. It's from Tony Farrell's TARDIS. Philip has kindly agreed to narrate a documentary I'm making. I'm hugely grateful to him. Is that the one? We'll learn more about that, I'm sure. John Roberts is saying Star Trek has continued to show that fan-made content can be marvelous.
Oh, yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
Really has.
I think we're going to be talking a lot more about that, John, in the next few months here on the channel.
Well, having respect for your source material is the best place to start, isn't it? Yeah.
Isn't it just? And Jason Parker, the sets are great. I love the ice stalk on the wall. And oh yes, white walls and Daleks, getting Day of the Daleks photo shoots. I love it. Bill Lowry also saying quite rightly, there's more interest in this than in the official series.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true, isn't it? And Mark Greaves saying, I'd rather watch that than that trailer than season 2. And
well,
Kyle...
nice to get a palate cleanser after season 2 with Phil's film. That'd be nice. Yeah.
Well, it's something to look forward to because there's nothing else coming later in the year. I can say hello from Oregon, says Kyle Shepherd. Well, hello to you. I used to watch classic Doctor Who as a kid in our public access. Lots of PBS stations here in the States showed the original season. So we are led to believe here in Britain. That's what made it popular, eh? Back in those days. Happy days for all of you lot, Kyle. Now you've got to buy Disney, haven't you, to see the latest nonsense. Yeah. Do you watch the latest nonsense, Kyle? Because it is. Kyle is saying he's a huge Dalek fan. Well, good for you. Good for you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, please, Kyle, and everybody else as well. If you have subscribed to us, please make sure you're still subscribed. Great to see you all. Oh, look, and Rory and Cheryl reaching out to you there, Kyle, if you've not seen it, if you've not seen them. And Killbot Kill has been with us as well, saying love the movie Daleks.
Yeah.
A lot of excitement there for you, Phil. It's on the way. Stay with us here on Who's Views because he is coming on at some point to talk about what he's been up to. And release dates and all that sort of stuff. We have gone well over time yet again here on Headlines. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Thank you for staying with us. It's been great tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the content. Lots of stuff coming over the next few weeks and months here on Who's Views. Do please stay with us. We're going to be letting you know very shortly about how we're going to be covering and what we're going to be doing for this next series of RTD's nonsense
thing.
Honestly. Thanks to Paul and Third Doctor Ian. Nice to see you both. Thank you for being here with all your insights and your input. Fantastic.
Great fun. Thank you.
Lovely. Enjoyed it.
It's great to see everybody in the chat tonight. Thank you all for being with us. We will be back on Wednesday for our review of Rose. Come and see us for that one. And don't forget here on the channel that when they drop a headline, we're going to be here to talk about it. Your Sunday Big Show headlines. Thanks, everybody. Until we see you again very soon. Ta-ra, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for joining us. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.